Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
The Sunday Session is brought to you by More Beer, who has just opened their East Coast distribution center and is now shipping orders from California and Pennsylvania. Check them out at morebeer.com.
I poured it in my mouth and it just wasn't going down.
My first beer was an IPA, the best IPA I've ever drank. Mostly because I brewed it.
If you have a scale that is good for measuring cocaine, you're probably good for measuring hops on cocaine.
You're scaring me.
I think the information is awesome and the audio sucks.
Make some sugary water, throw some yeast in there.
And you're going to drink good beer.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's fine.
God damn it, man. Oh, my God. Oh, uh-oh.
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the program. We're back in the studio in sunny Martinez, where it is officially 118 degrees near the refinery. It's a nice temperature down here in Martinez. And some exciting things happening on tonight's program. We've got a lot going on. We've got multiple guests and a skeleton crew. JP who wants to guess where JP went on vacation to? Anyway, Jade?
Disneyland!
That's right! You must listen to the program. JP, of course, is on his way back from Disneyland.
Does he ever go anywhere else?
Nope. I don't think a single vacation has ever been taken at another location.
Just Disneyland? That's it?
That's it. And you'd think that by now he'd figure out how long it takes to get home from Disneyland and make the show on time.
No.
Yeah, this makes him like, 0 for 5 on his proclamations that he'll be back for the session?
Yeah,
I'll be back.
He's always like, I'm pretty sure I'll be there by 5. I mean, I'm not really sure. Well, how many times have you made the drive? 100? 200 maybe?
At least.
And how different is the timing every time, you know? Anyway, I do think he's coming. He might be here around 6 o'clock. Doc, also late. He's on his way back from a child's, tryouts for something. All-star tryouts or something official. Something big for his kids.
I thought he'd still be on his way back from Burning Man or something.
No, they got back from Burning Man earlier in the week. I saw that's why we were off for a couple weeks. It's our annual Burning Man vacation time ourselves. Although I didn't go this year. I just lived vicariously. And
Doc does enough partying for at least 2 people.
Yeah, I saw them all when they got back. They were a mess. And actually, Moscow and I helped them return their RV. That thing's disgusting coming back from Burning Man. I forgot how disgusting things get out
I feel bad whoever rents that thing next.
Yeah. I think I'm going back next year. I've taken 2 years off, and I think I'm ready to go back and debaucherize again, or whatever the word.
It's going to seem brand new all over again.
Yeah, that's what I figure. It's time to recreate my a new first experience.
Right.
I forgot it, so need to go see some boobs.
Either that or you're going to go, what the hell am I doing here?
No, that's kind of what I did the last time I went, which is why I took 2 years off. I got to kind of the middle of it and went, what the fuck am I doing? What am I, 18 again?
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm doing here.
You can't wait till you get too old, or it's just going to seem like...
Yeah. Unless
it's
not.
Just sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
So, anyway, but now we're back in studio, and we got a lot to do. We've got Tom Kehoe from Yards Brewing Company. They're out of Philadelphia, PA. I had a lot of their beer when we were in Philadelphia for the National Homebrewers Conference. I had a lot of their Yards Pale Ale, and I loved it. So we've got him on the program today. We've also got our old friend in the studio, Paul Sangster, and he's got a new brewery now. He's no longer just Mr. Ninkasi. He's Mr. Rip Current Brewing Company.
Yeah, thanks for having me in.
Where are you guys located now?
We're in San Marcos, California. Which is, if people know where Lost Abbey is. We're right down the street from Lost Abbey.
Got it. How cool is that? That's going to be your claim to fame. Hey, you know where Lost Abbey is? Yeah, just turn left.
And there's this little place called Stone right down the street that
right.
some people have heard of, too.
You can either turn right at Stone or left at Lost Abbey, and there we are.
That's right.
Yeah. Very nice. So we'll be talking to Paul a little bit later. We got things all scheduled out. We got to talk to Tom Kehoe first, and we're going to be talking to Jade and Roberto from Hop Tech are hanging out with us. We're going to talk to them about Oktoberfest in just a couple of minutes. Let me take care of some quick business. Dr. Homebrew is on iTunes. Just use the XML RSS feed, thebrewingnetwork.com/Dr. Homebrew, or search Dr. Homebrew in iTunes, or go to the homepage and you'll find it on the On Tap section right there. And there's new shows twice a month. So it's a great new show. People are loving it. You can help support the Brewing Network over at Amazon just by clicking our Amazon link right there on the homepage. A lot of you have been doing that. What is our Amazon product of the week, Moscow?
Unbelievably, it's the Mattel Magic 8-Ball. Those things are still around and being ordered by BN listeners on Amazon. It's the original Magic 8-Ball. It's got all the answers you need. Great fun for kids and adults. I don't know about the adults part. Get a sneak preview into the future, it says. The Magic 8-Ball.
Imagine being the inventor of the Magic 8-Ball. I mean, us working stiffs are sitting in here, and that bastard is on a yacht somewhere just counting his checks from that stupid little plastic genie ball.
So who's better, the Magic 8-Ball guy or the Pet Rocks guy? Or the Chia Pet guy? That's a tough competition.
I think the Chia Pet guy, because it morphed into multiple things. Like you can get Obama Pet, and I think Kate the Great's mother has Obama Pet.
Really?
Yeah.
Just endless rebranding opportunities on that one.
Yeah. By the way, do you find Obama Pet a little racist? Because it
what
Chia
color
Pet,
is it?
It only grows a fro.
Like it grows dreadlocks too, doesn't it?
Yeah, like it never grows. It's not like it's not good hair, as Chris Rock would say. It only grows, That's
Can you train it into cornrows or anything?
Maybe. I don't. I'll have to ask Kate the Great's mom if she's ever done that.
It'd be great if they had like a Jesse the Body Ventura Chia Pet that it didn't grow anything.
I think I've had Chia Pets like that because I don't have a green thumb. I can't even grow a fucking Chia Pet. Anyway, all right, that's our Amazon product of the week, the Magic 8-Ball. Thank you for buying that, somebody. We got a little chunk of that change ourselves. Okay, you can listen to this on the go with our mobile apps. Just search BN Mobile in in iTunes or the Android market. You can watch this live over on Livestream. I think you go to new.livestream.com/Brewing Network. I'm working on a short URL. I got a lot of feedback and helpful hints about doing that. Made me feel like a retarded person because I've been running a website for 8 years and didn't figure out that I could do a redirect yet.
Well, also to add to the retardism, it's the Brewing Network / the Brewing Network.
Great, there we go. Oh, boy, am I good at my job. What else? You can get all these updates and more over on Twitter and Facebook. You can send your show ideas to Scott at thebrewingnetwork.com, and send feedback over to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. Without JP here, I'm forced to do the Twitter game myself. Tonight's Twitter game is brought to you by our good friends in Dublin, California at Hop Tech.
Woohoo!
That's right. So we don't have Tasty tonight because apparently he's backstage at the Dave Matthews Band concert. I don't know, Tasty's kind of a big deal, as you know, and someone got him passes, so he decided to skip the show and hang out backstage with Dave Matthews. So for tonight's Twitter game, what I want to know is, if Dave Matthews were to write a song about Tasty, what would it be called? And you should assume that this will be after spending a night with Tasty backstage around all of Dave Matthews' groupies. And knowing that and knowing what you know about Tasty, what would the Dave Matthews song be called if you wrote it about Tasty? You're a Dave Matthews fan, aren't you, Moscow?
I do like Dave. I told you a story that I thought everyone had heard, and you hadn't, which is the Dave tour bus dumping its septic tank onto the passengers of a boat going underneath a bridge. Don't tell me the studio has not heard of this either.
I think I vaguely remember hearing about this one.
From the mid-2000s. The bus driver decided to just dump on a bridge, and all of the septic stuff landed on a boat that was going under the bridge at that very moment, full of tourists.
Sightseeing tourists. I almost threw up when he told me this story.
Yeah.
And I kind of didn't believe it. And sure enough, he Googles it. It's the first thing that pops up. There it is in the news. Dave Matthews tour bus dropping shit all over some boat.
It's a nice $250,000 settlement for those tourists, though.
Oh, I would have sued.
The giant Dave dump.
That's the name.
He paid for that one.
That's the next album.
I don't generally. It really has to be some significant pain and suffering for me to agree with a pain and suffering lawsuit. I would have significant pain and suffering from that.
That's up there.
I would be wrenching for days, and every time I thought about it again, I would throw up.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's just terrible. Okay, let's get on with things, shall we? We've got Jade and Roberto in the studio right now, and they're here to talk to us about the annual event down in Oakland called Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah. How many years have you guys been?
We're this is our 4th year sponsoring it.
Okay.
And we sponsor Homebrew Alley.
Oh yeah.
And Oktoberfest is really, really cool. It's just a street festival in Upper Oakland.
Okay.
So it's above 580, so it's not Shooter's Alley.
Ah.
And so you're at Fruitville and MacArthur, and they block the intersection off for about 3 blocks in every direction.
It's right there in the Diamond District.
In the Diamond District, which is awesome.
Okay.
And lots of vendors, lots of food, lots of music, lots of things to do. Kid-friendly root beer garden. Very family-oriented.
I like that. A lot of the beer festivals don't do the kid-friendly thing. And I'll tell you, we don't either. And it's a regulations thing. At Concord, we're not allowed to have ours family-friendly either. And if you have to put up a fence around it, you have to build a state penitentiary every time you do a beer fest. So I like it when cities allow it to be combined like that.
Yeah, and what I like about it is everything is free unless you choose to go into the beer fest or go into the beer fest.
Okay.
But the way they have it is, you're not in a beer corral. They don't hide you away. They don't segregate you or anything.
Oh, so you don't have to stay in the beer garden.
Nope.
Oh, okay. So you just buy the tickets for the beer garden, but then you can walk around.
You can either buy tickets or you can pay for unlimited pours.
Nice.
Which I always like because that way I can get short pours.
Oh yeah.
But
and make Roberto drive home.
It
never works out that way, does it?
How long have you guys known us?
I was wishful thinking for you, Jade.
Sometimes me too, yeah. But, you can get a glass of beer, then you can go wander around, go watch music, go get something to eat. And they sprinkle some of the beer booths around in the vendors.
Okay.
The other vendors. So it makes you walk around.
I love it. So it's all mixed together. It's
mixed together.
Much better.
Yeah,
and what is Homebrew Alley like? What do you guys do there?
Homebrew Alley, what we do is... we have it so that Hop Tech is there.
Okay.
And
I think we're going to be there with you this year.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm not personally going to be there. You guys are going to have JP. I have to go to a stupid wedding. But you guys are going to have JP, and he'll be right next to you, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What else is in Homebrew Alley?
Homebrew Alley. Under our umbrella, a couple of other of the local homebrew clubs come in, and they can do small tastings of their beers.
Okay.
Same as us.
Got it.
And our club, the Mad Zymes, does the beer competition, which has drop-offs until through this coming Saturday.
Okay.
At Oak Barrel, Brewmaster in San Leandro, and Hop Tech in Dublin.
Did you enter this competition, Nate, or have you retired?
No. I haven't retired, but I don't have a style ready for this competition.
German beers only.
German styles only. It's cool competition focused just on those often neglected subcategories.
Nice.
At least on the West Coast a little bit,
Okay.
And that's nice. And then our club, they do like a brewing demonstration. It's a real multimedia thing that they have worked up. It's really pretty cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So they don't actually have to do bring all the equipment and do the full brew day.
Yeah, because Oakland gets a little weird about, fire in the streets and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we've
gone through that for a couple of years trying to get it worked out.
Yeah, especially in Oakland. What is this, a Raiders game? There's no fire in the streets.
Yeah, well, they had to have the propane so far away from the burner that the propane was like in the middle of the street.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
And,
okay. But that's cool, though, anyway.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's hard to finish a demonstration brew day at a festival that only lasts 4 hours, right?
No, it's 7.
Oh, this is a long one, huh? Wow.
It's a grueling 7-hour pour.
Wow. I'm glad JP's
on the
going.
sloped streets of Oakland.
Right. Well, but you guys have been doing it for a while now, so you must love it. What a good fest.
We do. It's a tremendous amount of fun.
Okay.
And we bring, just personally, we'll bring about 17 kegs, corny kegs.
Wow.
And we'll come home with probably a total of 2 full ones.
Okay.
And so in 2-ounce pours, we can 7 hours, we can roll through about 15 kegs.
You guys are brewing maniacs, you and Roberto. How many times a month are you guys brewing? I should probably narrow it down to week, shouldn't I? How many times a week are you brewing?
Not enough.
Still not enough, Roberto says.
Yeah, we brought a couple of homebrews here, but anyway.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, we'll have time to try that stuff, too. All right, you can go to Oktoberfest.org right now, and do people buy tickets through the website or just at the festival?
You can do both, but there's booths coming in to any side that you're coming in from the festival. There are booths to buy tickets, or they can send you down to the info booth.
Okay.
Where you pick up your ticket and your glass.
And, of course, the festival's free, but if you want beer, you're just paying for that.
Bingo,
So,
exactly that.
bring the kids.
But you're paying for the food. I mean, obviously you pay for what you buy within it.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, you can just roam in, and and most of the stores on the streets are open.
Okay.
And the food, gosh, the food is just so eclectic.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's so awesome.
And I bet there's with that large a space, 3 blocks, there must be a lot of different food vendors. So you got options, too.
Lots of different food vendors, plus the shops that are on the streets that we're on.
Okay.
They're also real good, too.
Sounds great. Go over to Oktoberfest.org, Oktoberfest.org. I think it might be their 5th year doing it. It's your 4th year participating, but this might be year 5, so they probably got it pretty well dialed in by now.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do. The promoters are really good. They work really hard on this, and it's good because all the money is plowed back into the Diamond District.
Great.
Just to make the neighborhood better. And,
yeah.
It's a nice place.
Another good nonprofit event. It's Saturday, October 5th of this year. It's coming up, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go to Oktoberfest.org. Thanks, Jade and Roberto. I hope you're going to stay with us for a while and have some beer.
We brought beer.
Okay, good. We're going to share some beer with you.
Whoa.
What I've got to get us to is a special announcement. It's time, once again, for a new Brewcaster Challenge.
Part 4.
That's right. So, if you recall, the Brewcaster challenges that we've had so far are myself versus JP. JP was the victor. Then we had Tasty versus Nate. Once again, Nate's in the loss column for the competition.
Can I get a recount on this? Come on. I'm stuck with you, of all people. Come on, man.
Yeah. And the third Brewcaster challenge that we had on our plate was Doc versus John Plisse. Quite a matchup, I thought. However, Doc won that one by a landslide. He got a lot of votes on his. Plisse's beer was great, but Doc just pulled out that decoction bullshit and hammered it home, man. That was a good beer.
It was a really good beer. Doc knows what he's doing.
Is your Roggen beer downstairs too, right, Paul?
Yeah, but we don't decoct it.
You don't?
That's much too hard. Although we do step mash it, which is a little unusual for a pro brewery.
So that is your pro beer. That's not a home brew that you brought in.
That's a pro beer, but it's based on an old home brew I did for years and years.
Okay.
Paul's has a ton of rye character. We were all sort of commenting when we did the Brewcaster Challenge that none of them had this perception of big rye.
Right.
Paul's has that, so it's interesting to taste as a counterpoint to those.
Right.
And Paul and I were talking about this yesterday, making that style for American homebrew competitions. You really got to get that rye front and center. The judges are really looking for that.
Yeah, I tried making a few that were. I mean, you guys experienced the ones from Germany. They tend to be smoother and a little easier drinking. So I used to make them like that. And what I found in competition was they didn't do well because the judges all just assumed that they should have a big rye character.
Okay.
So I tasted the one that got first place at NHC 2011, and it tasted like beer we're serving now, which has a lot of rye character. But the interesting thing is I didn't know this until this morning that you guys use 50% rye in your beers. I only use 42% in this one.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, we made them use at least 50%.
That's very nice of you.
You know, yeah.
Make it real fun for them, you know?
Another difference, I think, you got that more of that Weizen yeast character out of yours than they did. They had less of that kind of clovey bubblegum flavor. And yours is still, actually, I think, very smooth. Mm-hmm. And I would also still call it a mellow beer. But your yeast character was definitely more prominent than in their beers.
Interesting. They didn't have more banana than this one?
You know, maybe Doc's did have a little bit more banana. Yours maybe a little more on the clovey side.
Yeah, so we overpitched it to try to keep that under control, and then we also fermented colder.
Got it. Okay.
Which kind of helps get a little more clove out of it.
Okay.
But he did a ferulic acid rest, which we didn't do.
Yeah,
that brings clove out too. So
you do the 62-degree kind of fermentation thing.
It's the
old school BN listeners will know that Jamil talked about that for years, and that was actually an old Harold technique.
That's
too,
the Harold
right?
Gabranson trick, and I've always used that ever since I heard that trick, and it works great.
Nice. All right, well, let's make our announcement. We've got a great Brewcaster challenge for you this time. I think you're going to be surprised. And we've got one of our challengers on the phone. The other one is in the studio. We're going to put our own burgeoning young brewer Scott Moskowitz is in on this Brewcaster Challenge, and we're not going to go easy on him. He's going up against Jamil.
What the? This was not my idea.
JZ, are you with us, buddy?
Yeah, sounds like an easy win for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Are you up for the challenge, Jamil?
I could be laying down and be up for that challenge.
All right. Now,
I don't think I need to be much higher than that to win this one.
So, I know a lot of people are kind of thinking what we're thinking. Like, what the hell are we thinking? Yes, Bevo?
I'm voting for Scott simply on the douche factor.
You just think it's douchey that I'm doing this to him?
And that Jamil's all like, I'm going to win. There's no chance. Blah, blah, blah. I'm so great.
You know,
no offense, Jizzy. Nice to talk to you.
You just want that handicap multiplier on the victory.
Yeah,
You'll get a lot of
right.
points, right?
How many times has Scott brewed? Twice?
How many times have you brewed?
No, I don't know, 5? 4 or 5?
Okay.
Oh,
you know, more than 2, Jamil. Jeez.
Right. And how many times has Jamil won Ninkasi again? Was it 3?
No, only 2.
It was 2. Okay.
I mean, we're doing some
Only.
Almost as many times as Scott has brewed.
we got to do, handicapping of some sort.
Did you hear that? I've won Ninkasi almost as many times as Scott has brewed. Okay. Now,
you're throwing me a cream puff here, I think.
I can't make it that easy.
Yeah.
As you know, I actually like Moscow, and so I'm going to try to I'm going to change things up a little bit. So here's what I'm going to do to try to even the playing field. Moscow is allowed to choose one ingredient or one part of the brewing process that Jamil is not allowed to use. I'm going to ask you guys to brew a black IPA is our style for this one. And within that style, thinking about the ingredients, Moscow, and think, knowing what you know about the brewing process, your immense knowledge, you can remove one ingredient or one process from Jamil's brew day.
All right. How about the
Jamil? Are you okay with me allowing this to kind of even it up? Just allow him to remove one thing,
like hops.
Green?
No, I don't think I could brew an IPA without hops.
Well, I was going to say hops, but now I'm thinking yeast. Right?
Why not just go for water while you're at it?
JC, is that possible?
Yeah, what do you think? I'm like Gandalf the brewer here? Squeeze beer out my butthole or something?
Well, I don't know. You are pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Okay, that's...
Yeah, I don't think that would... I would seriously think that is not quite viable.
Okay, and that doesn't level the playing field. That makes it just goes the other way, in Moscow's favor.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure.
Right.
So if he's just
do that?
not allowed to use a fancy system, like he has to use pots and like his kitchen.
Old school.
You could maybe you can't use any kind of a kettle vessel.
Well, but I'm not worried about.
I'll boil it in my hand.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the hot side is whatever. He's going to do a great fermentation. So that was my reasoning, right?
Yeah.
Who cares the kettle? That doesn't matter. He's just going to do a good, cold side.
All right, so think of something else. What could you remove? It doesn't have to be an ingredient. Like I said, it could be something in the process too. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I would make.
All right. How about you boil? You can't boil.
Well, that's almost possible.
Oh yeah. It'd be weird for this style, but
it would be weird for this style because he's got to get hops and a lot of hops in that for the.
Wait, are you serious? You can do that? I thought.
Well, I don't know.
I thought I was going to be shot down again.
What do you think, JC? Can we do no boil?
Well, first off, Moscow, you are a soulless ginger.
I need all the help I can get.
For even suggesting this.
I think that is quite a challenge. My first thought was no, but, I'm always saying there's a lot of parts of the process that happen like isomerizing alpha acids, it happens, 175 degrees and above.
Yeah.
Of course, but you don't necessarily have to boil to get bitterness.
You could do 5-minute boil. You could be real nice, Scott, and let him do 5-minute only.
Well, no, it doesn't sound like he needs it. 175.
Great, thanks.
Somebody from the chat suggested no use of a thermometer.
I don't think that levels it. Jay-Z can do that with his thumb. He can do it with his wiener.
Wait, so is this new info? I don't remember ever hearing that you can do it without boiling?
Well, I think what Jay-Z's saying, if I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Jamil, but in a lot of talk, like from the Can You Brew It shows, when they're talking about whirlpool hopping, they're talking about bitterness and stuff being added, and that's not at boil. I mean, it's hot as hell, but it's not boiling. Is that what you mean, Jamil?
Right. Yeah, so what we're talking about is not actively boiling, not seeing bubbles forming on the surface, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Anything other than that, we're okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. It might take some experimentation, but it might be possible.
So are you saying you accept the challenge, Jamil?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Wow, all right.
Okay, we'll be racking up his bet number 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I feel like I got away with one right there.
All right, now we got a challenge. Black IPA, Moscow versus Jay-Z. Jay-Z is not allowed to boil.
Doesn't it get rid of, some things that get killed off, in the boil that they wouldn't get killed off at 175?
No, you don't want to tell him that now.
Is that true? I don't even know if that's true. I'm just throwing it out there.
Pasteurization and stuff happens, lower and longer. You can kill most anything.
Above 140, you're
perfectly fine. Spores, yeah.
Yeah.
And then volatilization of a lot of compounds, that comes off, at a lower temperature. I can stir. And
no stirring.
Pick it up to 205 and stir.
Right.
That might work.
Yeah.
It's just challenging. I don't think I'd get a very good, hot break out of boil.
Oh, that's a good point. So what will that mean?
It doesn't have to be clear. It's a black IPA, right?
Yeah, that's true. I should have picked a lager.
I mean, I would worry about, DMS if I was to use some lighter tone malt. So maybe I need to go with, a darker base malt. Go with an English pale ale malt. Something that's kilned a little darker. So more of the DMS, the SMM precursor has been driven off already.
The wheels are already turning. Look at him. You can listen to him go already, Moscow. Maybe you should have stuck with yeast.
Yeah, given your reaction to this, I should have dug my heels in.
Still, he's got to produce a pretty intense beer with no boil. And Moscow can do anything you want, Keep in mind, Moscow, I got my recipe straight from Heretic Brewing Company. So you have to brew the beer, but, you can use a little help.
Yeah, you lost, though.
Yeah. I did, that's true. But I don't think it was the recipe's fault. So I'm just saying, it's not. You might be able to do this, man.
All right, I'm gonna give it my best, man. I'm coming for you, Jay-Z.
Well, I think you have a pretty good shot at it now.
Bevo, are you changing your vote now that he's
no.
backed off on the... No, not at all.
Bevo's already cast her vote. We usually don't do that for another couple weeks. But,
I can't wait to see what the odds are going to be on this competition.
Yeah, they're 100 to 1 already. All right. And Moscow, are you going to brew extract or all grain, or what are you thinking?
I think I'll do a partial extract.
Okay.
Like we did with Doc back in the day.
Oh, yeah. So you'll still do a little mashing in there.
A little mini mash.
Okay.
You can
you're going to be brewing on your own, right?
No, Doc's system for sure.
Yeah, you can use my system.
He gets advice from people, but you're not going to be having people brew for you. You're going to have people standing by.
That's right. Think of it like the Queen of Beer competition. That's how I thought of it when I did it. And that was I could get instruction leading all the way up to, and even on the day, you could ask direct questions but no one can do it for you or say, you're doing that wrong, you better do it this way, don't do that, do this. That's against the rules.
Which is why you lost.
Yeah. No, I'll do it on my own. I lack a soul, but I don't lack integrity.
All right, there we have it. Our latest Brewcaster challenge. This one's going to be fun.
Yeah, for you.
Right. I'm also happy to get Jamil back in the homebrew house.
Oh, yeah. When's the last time you did that, Jay-Z?
A couple of years ago.
The last test batch for Heretic, maybe a couple of years ago? Or at least the last small test batch.
Right.
So...
Yeah, it's just been crazy busy.
You're going to have to wipe the cobwebs off of that system.
Or leave them in. Secret ingredient.
And brew it on the Heretic system.
No boil on the hair. 30 barrels. Is that what you have now, a 30-barrel system?
That's 35.
35-barrel no-boil black IPA. That's a hell of a marketing tool.
Might be a hit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'd go with, taste the beer that beat Moscow, but I don't think anybody would really care.
That's true. All right, Jay-Z. Well, I know you're busy, so I appreciate you participating in this and getting back to homebrewing a little bit. It's going to make for some good content.
Sure.
And
I'm excited.
Who knows? I guess you're going to learn something about no-boil brewing. So,
yeah, there's a whole new thing to investigate.
All right, Jay-Z. Thanks, brother. We'll catch up with you in a couple weeks, and we'll check in to see where you're at and how your recipe is and all of that.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, brother. There you go. Jay-Z versus Moscow. I am a clever little bastard sometimes.
Good for a joke.
Yeah. Well, it's as we're getting, as we've, marked off brewers in the room, we're like, well, what are we going to do? We got to put them against. So who are we going to put Jamil against? So we figured.
Jay-Z's pretty rusty, though. He hasn't homebrewed in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how much his fermentation rule applies here.
I suspect it will apply.
You're going to let him ferment?
I tried.
Yeah. He cannot ferment.
Probably has glycol jacketed better bottles by now or something.
Right.
That's better.
All right. Well, that's good fun. So we got a little timeline on that. We'll get an update, like I said, in a couple weeks, find out where you guys are. We'll talk about your different recipes. We'll get to learn all about black IPAs in the meantime. And I guess we'll learn an awful lot about no-boil brewing. We'll learn a little bit about mini mash. Again, we haven't talked about mini mash on the show in a while, so I'm looking forward to being able to educate folks on some of that stuff. Would it be your first mini mash, or you've done that?
If you recall, my buddy Phil and I did it with Doc.
Okay.
So I didn't do it myself, but we kind of did it alongside Doc.
Got it. Okay. All right. It's going to be good fun. Start getting your pointers now. You got good brewers in the room tonight, Moscow. I'd get out the notepad. You got Paul here, another Ninkazi winner, and get to it, man. Black IPA, quick. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Tom Kehoe. He's with Yards Brewing Company, and I think we got some of his beer to try, too, right? Got a lot of beer in the studio tonight. It's going to be a wet one, so to speak. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hi, I'm Jamel Zanishev, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Home Brewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your home brew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zanishev. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew.
Nico, listen, our lawyers said that we had to do this for 1 hour, and after this, we don't have to talk to each other for 3 more months to the next meeting.
Kids, come on, let's get out of here.
I'm supposed to have more lines. I'm the professional. Hey, it's Sully.
And I'm Nico.
And we opened the 21st Amendment 9 years ago at 563 2nd Street in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park, to make great beer and have a great time doing it.
That's right, because to us, the 21st Amendment is more than just the right to make beer. It's the right to experiment, to be innovative, and just do things differently. And so now, we're putting our craft beer in cans.
That's right, cans. You can find our world-famous Hell or High Watermelon Wheat Beer and Brew Free or Die IPA throughout California and Alaska.
And now it's also available on draft at select accounts in the Bay Area.
So next time you're at your local neighborhood pub or good beer store, be sure to ask for 21st Amendment in cans.
Because everyone likes it in a can.
Tasty crack cans.
Tasty crack can.
A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeast, White Labs is proud to announce WLP 90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP 90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. Whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry, and to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just 1 day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
This is www.thebrewingnetwork.com.
Sit down next to it, grab yourself a paper towel, and watch those yeast have sex.
You're listening to the Brewing Network.
The session.
Brewing up our next batch of radio gold.
Right now.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. You're listening to the session, and we've got Tom Kehoe from Yards Brewing Company on the line with us. Are you there, Tom?
Yes. Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're doing great. How are you, man?
Doing great. Doing awesome.
We were just in Philadelphia. It was my first time there for the National Homebrewers Conference, and I spent a good part of the week drinking your beer.
Awesome.
Especially the pale ale. I spent a lot of time. Your pale ale was at the hotel, I think, so I had a ton of that.
I'm opening a bottle of it right now.
Great. I enjoyed it. Yeah, thanks for sending us beer, Tom.
Hey, it'd be better to know who I am by trying the beer.
That's right.
Thanks for having your marketing guy put about 80,000 pounds of packing peanuts in the thing too. It only took me an hour to unpack it.
But the beer was safe.
But the beer was not broken.
We try to take care.
I get the feeling he's broken bottles of beer in shipment before and caught hell for it, and he wasn't about to have that happen again.
Absolutely not.
How long has Yards been around, Tom?
We've been around 18 years.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. And tell us a little bit about your history so we can just kind of get a feel for you. Were you a home brewer?
Yep. Started out home brewing. Was brewing in my dorm in college. And next thing you know, I visited a brewery and thought, wow, this is awesome. This is what I want to do. So
nice. And how did you get into home brewing? A friend or?
Well, always had a passion for beer. Ever since I started drinking beer, we had guys that I was friends with that really, started gravitating towards imports, and then found some craft brew that was made right in the U.S. and couldn't believe it, and we're just like, wow, this is awesome. So it really got me into, all the flavors, just really got me into wanting to do my own beer.
Got it. And you said you were brewing in college, so
yes.
Were you the most popular kid in the dorm then?
For pre-gaming, it's exactly what I was.
What kind of stuff were you homebrewing back then?
We started out just doing extract. Basically started out was the only thing around, amber ale. Started doing that, then tried a stout, and then right away we actually had a professor that came up to us and was like, hey, I brew every weekend. I do all grain. Would you like to come down and brew with us?
Nice.
And we were just like, sure. And we started brewing all grain right away.
Okay. And then you never turned back.
Exactly.
You've been spending all your money on brewing equipment since that day.
Yes, I have a fine affiliation for stainless.
Right. So you opened 18 years ago, and what kind of setup did you have then? Did you spend a bunch of money on a brewery?
No, we basically was me and a guy from college, and we ran up our credit cards, took what we had in the bank, and basically got what would be considered today a nano system. It was about a 3.5 barrel system, and really build it from the ground up.
Got it. So when you say build it from the ground up, did you kind of piece it together from non-brewing equipment, or was it actually a brewery that you could buy?
Well, no, it was pieced together from non-brewing equipment that we sort of designed. Just followed specifics in like the practical brewer, things like that. We had our brew kettle made for us.
Okay.
We also had our mash tun made for us, and we incorporated a couple Grundy tanks at the time to be our fermenters, and then had a couple fermenters made after that.
Got it. So after college, it sounds like there was no other plan for you. You left college knowing I'm going to open a brewery. That's that.
I really did. But the whole thing was getting someone to believe in you. Back then, They looked at you like you were a restaurant.
Oh, I see.
Or how are you going to possibly compete with Budweiser? You're just coming out of college.
Sure. And I bet even just the coming out of college, stigma also. You're just a beer-loving kid. You think you're going to make a living at this?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they thought, and we were like, we are,
right?
And we're not going to compete with Budweiser.
Okay.
Yeah, it's silly that would even be a question you would ask. I mean, does it work like that with any other business? Like, I want to have a new board game. Well, how are you going to compete with Mattel? Well, I'm not. I don't need to. I can still have a successful, smaller operation.
Except
that
in 90
didn't have the bandwidth to actually, realize that there's more out there.
Right. Now,
and we've been fighting that with educating people ever since, I think.
What was out there in Philadelphia in 90? Was it 94 that you opened up? Oh. Am I losing you?
I got a little bit of a couldn't hear you for a minute.
There you go. Now you're back.
Okay.
What was the competition like back in '94 when you opened up?
Very little. We were the first one to open up in the city of Philadelphia with another brewery, which was called Independence.
Okay.
And we were about the exact same time. There was somebody doing some contract brewing that was in Philly at the time.
Okay.
But it already had a base with Dock Street, which was kind of an established contract brew at that point.
Yeah, I think I had Dock Street's still around, right?
Yes, they are.
I think I had some of their beer while I was out there as well.
Great.
And of course, now since '94, there's a lot of breweries in Philadelphia and surrounding. So, okay. And what about your size? Give us a comparison. You're 3 barrels when you started. What are you now?
We're a 50-barrel brew house, and we're doing about 34,000 barrels a year.
Wow, that's quite a bit of growth over the years.
Yeah, and it's really happened in pretty much the last 5 years.
Now, be honest with me. When you're in college and you're making your business plan or you're trying to do this, is this where you saw yourselves? Did you think you were going to have a brewery of this size, or did you just think you would just stay small?
Yeah, we thought we would stay small the whole time. We thought that, heck, the biggest end of the microbreweries was 15,000 barrels at that point, and we thought if we ever got that big, it'd be the greatest thing. And we just never envisioned how much growth this industry would really have.
Right. Well, good for you. Right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
You especially might, not have been able to envision it in the, the late 90s when it seemed like, well, we had our growth and, now it's going to shit.
Yeah, and that was a big, let's check our bases. Luckily, we didn't have many investors. We didn't have a lot of people throwing money at us, so we were just growing with what we had, and we didn't have much to lose when the things were getting a little tough in the late 90s.
Well, that's the good thing about starting small.
Yeah.
How did you find? You said you ran up your credit cards. Was that it, or were you able to get a little bit of financing on top of that too?
Well, after a year and a half, we ended up getting some financing. We proved to everybody that, hey, we had a product out there. We had a little bit of a cult following going on where, everybody, we were the brand everybody talked about, even though there was some better financed breweries right in our backyard.
Why do you think that was? Were you guys like the hometown boys?
Yeah, I think it was. I think we were ones that were out there passionate about the beer. We were a little bit younger, so and we didn't have the big fancy equipment, so we were definitely the underdogs. And I think Philly really likes an underdog, so I think that's a big part of our success with that.
Nice. Now, what about aside from being on a shoestring budget? Then, what about other difficulties? Did you? I mean, it sounds like you were popular, but did you have trouble, selling enough beer in the beginning?
No, we didn't really. Everything we could make was pretty much sold. We had a little small craft beer distributor right in the beginning that basically took us under his wing and helped us out, getting us into accounts and, just basically buying all of our product.
Beautiful. Look at you lucky bastards. So what kind of beer were you brewing?
We started off doing a cask ale. Extra Special Ale was our first beer. The idea was, we didn't think that we were going to be able to compete right away with some of the, just basically like the basic microbrewer. We wanted to do something unique that would set us apart. First thing we did, we knew we were going to do an English ale. We did this Extra Special Ale, which was a little bit maltier than, I guess, a typical English ale. A little bit more alcohol. It was about 6%, and also we dry hopped it with a lot of East Kent Goldings. Really had a banging hop character. A little non-traditional for English ales, but it really got us noticed.
Nice. And so, were all of the hops and most of your ingredients you were using back then English then as well?
Yes, exactly. We used Mutton's Malt, and East Kent Golding was the signature hop in there.
Okay.
Why English styles? Is that what you were brewing in college too?
Yeah, it was I went to a small brewery that I, cut my teeth in a little bit, which was the British Brewing Company down in Maryland, and that was the style they did, and really that was what I was passionate about back then. There really wasn't a great any American pale ales or any, crazy IPAs back in the mid-early 90s.
Right. I mean, that would have been, and in fact now a good English ale, I think, in America is still unique. But back then, it would have been quite unique.
Yes, definitely.
So we have your pale ale open in front of us. We're all enjoying it. What can you tell us about this beer?
Well, that's our best seller, Philadelphia Pale Ale. We call it a non-traditional pale ale because it is not really, that sort of sweet, a little bit darker, a little bit, aggressively hopped ale that you expect out of pale ales. It's definitely lighter in color. It's almost straw in color. We hardly put any boil hops in, very little. We get most of our hop character from the finished hops and dry hopping.
Okay. So is finished actually just in the whirlpool for you guys?
Yeah, or last 5 minutes of the boil.
Okay. And then it kind of smells like a hell of a lot of dry hopping.
A lot of dry hopping, and it's our signature hop is Simcoe on that for the dry hopping, and it's you can't overdo it, but I think we kind of hit it right on the head.
Nate, did you know Simcoe right away when you tasted this?
Not at all.
Me neither.
I would not have guessed that. It's pretty amazing. They've done their own thing with a hop that has such a unique signature.
Yeah, Tom, I'm a Simcoe basher. Every time somebody hands me a Simcoe beer, I start shitting all over it.
I was wondering how you were drinking this in Philly, but now I know you didn't know.
I didn't know. It tastes great, Tom.
There's an untraditional base malt here, I'm guessing, too. Is that true, Tom? That may be part of the reason why the Simcoe just is in a different context.
No, it's a regular two-row.
Two-row? Okay.
Yep. And we're not using any kind of crazy malt in there, just a little bit of a little bit of toasted wheat within there, and a little bit of just like a Carapils.
Okay.
Maybe it's the toasted wheat. There's something that there's a really unique...
It's kind of biscuity kind of taste.
Yeah, biscuity,
too.
or almost like a Pilsner malt kind of quality to it. But
yeah, I would agree with the Pilsner malt taste
it's
to
very
it also.
biscuity.
Yeah. Is it a single hop? Is it Simcoe both in the dry hopping and in that late hop? That's it?
No, it's not. It's boil hop is a little bit of nugget. Late hop, we actually have some Simcoe and just a tiny bit of Cascade in there.
Okay. That's a good damn. It's not hard to do, Tom. I'll be honest with you, but now you're making me look like I don't know what I'm talking about because I really like this beer. It's got a shitload of Simcoe in it.
Got you on the first beer?
Yeah.
I think Simcoe is overused so much and then it changes the quality of the hop. It doesn't make it nearly as citrusy.
I see. No, this is a fine beer. Yeah.
Hey, Tom, have your tastes changed? Now that there's so many hoppy beers available that weren't when you were super into English ales?
They absolutely have. It's an art using the hops the right way, I think. And it's really, even doing the English ales the right way, being subtle about everything is an art also.
Definitely. Are you still doing a lot of English ales now also?
We do. Our second best-selling beer is Brawler. I don't know if you guys... I don't think I sent that out.
You did, actually. I'm going to go grab it right now.
Oh, there we go. Ooh. Let's taste. What can you tell us about that beer?
Well, it's a dark mild.
Okay.
And I kind of knew years ago that a dark mild was not going to sell, just like a bitter wasn't going to sell because of the name. People don't want dark beer for the most part, and people don't want things that are mild if they're looking for a craft beer. So we ended up coming up with the name Brawler, and we thought that kind of worked as a great name for a mild.
Beautiful.
And the idea, we call it a pugilist-style ale, which means you can go many rounds.
Very nice. So, what is describe maybe a traditional mild and yours in comparison?
Traditional mild is, it's a session ale. It should be malt forward. It should have very little hop. It should be low carbonation, and it should be very drinkable.
Okay.
And I think I just described my beer there, too, also.
Oh, good. All right, we're just getting it up here, so we'll let you know about that, too. You get I haven't had this one yet, but I'm noticing it in your pale ale, and any of the really good, fresh English ales I've had, and usually that has been in England as opposed to here, a really bright hop character. Something that's not bitter but stands out as it's definitely hops that you're tasting. It's definitely the aroma that you're getting, even as it's a malty beer. Are there tricks or techniques that you use to make sure that happens?
I don't know if there's any real trick. It's kind of just really, you get to know your equipment. You get to know how hops are going to affect each brew, and you kind of try to marry them with the malt. I mean, you know, malt's it's a huge part, especially in a lot of the English ales, that you know you don't want to overcompensate with the hop and just hide the malt. You want to kind of use one that's going to use both. They're going to bring each other out.
Okay. So. Did you taste this yet, Doc?
Yes, I did.
This is up your alley.
Yep.
You like this beer?
Yeah, it's he's described it quite well. You can go quite a few rounds with this. And it's dark enough to scare a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's not heavy.
The aroma is fantastic, and that's that real fresh English ale aroma that I like out of a good one.
Delightful.
And I guess, you know, it's you're not reinventing the wheel with this, Tom, but I guess what I mean is a lot of times I'll get, you know, more oxidation and cardboard out of beers like this. They don't hold up as well, and this, it's just a stand-up beer.
Thank you.
It's also got that fresh hop character.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nate?
Yeah. Do you mess around with the water at all between these two beers? It seems quite different, but maybe that's just perception in drinking it.
Yeah, we absolutely do. You know, change water profile, and a lot of it's just, you know, calcium chloride, things like that.
Right, definitely. Chloride on this one, Doc, you think?
Yeah, Nate and I were discussing behind the scenes here how the first one, if you're going to use that water profile for the English Dark Mild, it wasn't going to do it.
Oh.
And definitely totally different.
Okay.
Because the other one had more of a sharp bitterness, you know, pops.
Kind of has that sulfate quality.
Yeah, right, and you can't pull off the second beer with that kind of water profile.
Okay.
And that's why we said, hey, did you mess with the water?
Yeah. Tom, do you have pretty good water to start with in Philadelphia?
We have really nice hard water in Philly, which is great for ales. We tend to you know, struggle sometimes with the pH. It tends to be a little high, so we have to acidify a little bit to you know, get it to suit our needs.
What are you using to acidify?
Phosphoric acid and sometimes citric acid if we need to.
What would that be for us, Doc? The same thing? Could we buy both of those things at the homebrew shop?
Most brewers don't use citric acid.
Okay.
Usually you stay in the lactic or the phosphoric acid. It's easier to get. If you talk to Colin, he likes to use hydrochloric acid, but that's...
That sounds like something you'd kill somebody with.
Well,
that's what I bleached my hair with in middle school.
You know, it's a strong acid, and he uses the gloves and the goggles and everything else, but it's going to give you the chloride ions in there.
Okay.
Or sulfuric acid's going to give you the sulfate.
Got it.
So you're adding things in there to mess with the pH, and you're also going to add the second half, which is those other ions, which are going to mess with the flavor.
Okay.
Is this a common style?
In England, it's a common style. It's not. There's not many people doing milds in the U.S.
Yeah,
and it's more East Coast centric.
This is one of the few bottled examples I can think of, actually.
Yeah,
I think we're like one of the only ones that does it as a year-round product, but I know a few breweries definitely do it as seasonals.
You know, I wonder if that's going to change. We've been talking on the show recently about session beers starting to make waves, and more people talking about them and more brewers brewing them. I think if that actually happens, the mild is a perfect style to revisit for a lot of craft breweries. You know,
definitely. And I think you know, when I go out and have a few, I'm definitely going to the lighter spectrum on the beers.
Yeah. You know, we've got Bitter American from 21st Amendment on tap downstairs too, which is not a mild in style, but it's a 4.4% beer, and be a good side by side to taste the different characteristics. Nate, what do you think about, how would you classify Bitter American as a style? Is that more of like a kind of a bitter red?
Yeah, somewhere meets maybe an English bitter with an American twist to it. I think that's kind of how they would pitch it, and I think I would agree with that in many ways.
I think I have it in this glass right here, actually. I forgot I poured it.
If we're going to have this much beer in the studio, we better have a lot of session beer.
Yeah, that's true.
Otherwise we'll be sleeping by the end of this. So I think Paul's going to get us later with some bigger beers, so we'll have a chance to talk about those too. But no, Tom, I wanted to ask you about this mild. Is this EKG or an English hop all the way through, or are you doing something different?
Well, there is a little bit of nugget in there, but for the most part, it's English all the way through, East Kent Goldings.
Cool. You mentioned nugget on the first beer too. That's kind of a go-to hop for you guys in the brew house for bittering.
It's a kind of for a brew house boil hop. It's kind of our go-to hop. Yes,
it's probably been that way for a long time. That's a hop that has quite a history.
Yeah, it's a fantastic hop, and it keeps us real consistent.
And it's not one that you, I assume, are having trouble contracting, like a lot of the American hops that breweries run into difficulty with.
Yeah, exactly. But we're out 5 years for all of our hop contracts, and we've done a very good job of keeping that in check.
See, I think Tom's no dummy. He comes out of college, never has to get a real job. He just opens a brewery. He's making beers that he knows he can get ingredients for, even 18 years later. I think you're doing pretty well, Tom.
Trying.
All right, I got to do this. Let me take a break. I got to take care of a couple sponsors here. And when we come back, we've got a little more of your beer to try, too. And I'd like to talk more about cask ales with you and yeast as well, if you can hang out for a few.
That sounds great.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, more from Tom Kehoe, Yards Brewing Company out of Philly, and we'll taste more of his beer with you and try to get some techniques. I think also Tom's got a recipe prepared for us, so we should be able to get some good homebrew information. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
Listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
All right, BN Army, it's trivia time. What's the only homebrew shop with over 1,000 recipe kits, $4.99 shipping on orders over $100, and is also home of the Wolf Shirt? The one and only answer is Austin Homebrew Supply. For over 20 years, they've specialized in creating recipes such as the best-selling Texas Blonde Ale, Apocalypso, Hop Bomb 2.0, and Double Chocolate Stout. And they just recently unveiled their small grain kits that produce 1 gallon of beer. Visit AustinHomebrew.com to browse their extensive catalog of equipment and ingredients. They also have mini clone recipes of your favorite commercial beers. They're the exclusive retailer of BrewVent Yeast Fuel as well, Yeast Nutrient, and the all-new Bodybuilder. Follow Austin Homebrew Supply on Google Plus to participate in video hangouts on popular brewing topics. So visit AustinHomebrew.com today and make sure you sign up for their weekly email with news and specials. Austin Homebrew Supply, AustinHomebrew.com. Have you ever dreamed about attending the World Brewing Academy? This year, thanks to Lalamond and Danstar, one lucky brewer will make that dream a reality for free. Lalamond and Danstar invite you to enter the Beer School 2014 contest. One lucky grand prize winner will receive fully paid tuition in the 2014 World Brewing Academy web-based concise course in brewing technology worth almost $4,000. From now until December 13th, 2013, every Danstar yeast packet you use is your ticket to enter. Visit DanstarYeast.com for the details and to print your official entry form. There's no limit on the number of times you can enter, so get brewing with Danstar and get your entries in to the Danstar 2014 Beer School Contest. Whether you want to build your home brewing skills or build a career as a professional brewer, this course will change the way you think of beer and brewing. Enter at DanstarYeast.com and get the dry yeast advantage with Danstar and Lalamond Premium Brewing Yeast and enter to win.
Tin, Getting tired of that same old handcrafted beverages day after day? Are you looking for something with more diversity than your normal beer? Fellow BN Army member Michael Fairbrother, owner of Moonlight Meadery, is reviving an entire beverage category, mead.
The meads at Moonlight Meadery are all handcrafted from the finest honey on the market and are perfect for any occasion, like weddings, baby showers, or...
Excuse me? Mead is not your average girly drink, mister, and Moonlight Meads can be enjoyed anytime, anywhere. Football games with the guys.
Yeah.
Barbecues with the guys.
Yeah.
Operating power tools with the guys.
Yeah.
Actually, sir, that's really dangerous.
Good point, son.
Next time you have something to celebrate or are just looking for a new tasting experience, pick up a bottle of mead from Moonlight Meadery. Now in 21 states, making over 60 varieties of mead from dry, semi-sweet to sweet.
Break out of that craft beer lull. Grab a bottle of Moonlight Mead. Can't find some? Then ask. No, make that demand some.
Yeah!
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zanishev, and I want to tell you about my favorite heretic beer, Shallow Grave Porter. I love the rich, malty character of this beer. While full and rich, Shallow Grave has an easy drinking finish that isn't too sweet. I've always loved my homebrew porter recipe, so when it's time to brew Heretic Shallow Grave, I started with that in mind. but I tweaked it with all my latest recipe ideas. Just like in homebrewing, I made sure we used only the finest malts that would produce the ideal flavor for this beer. We used select British malts to get the rich chocolate and caramel flavors, and we spared no expense. The result is a beer as dark as a moonless night, with hints of vanilla, coffee, and chocolate, perfect for a cool evening out in the woods. Cheers.
For nearly 15 years, homebrewers have been served by one place in Michigan where you can buy yourself a serial killer grain mill. Adventures in Homebrewing. Did you try all those great Michigan beers at the National Homebrewers Conference in San Diego or Seattle? Adventures in Homebrewing delivered. Did you see a great false bottom in your buddy's cooler or brew kettle? Adventures in Homebrewing delivered that. And did you see that great custom-built brew stand? Yep, Adventures in Homebrewing delivered. Since 1999, Adventures in Homebrewing in Taylor, Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, and online at homebrewing.org has been serving homebrewers across the globe. Check out their innovative 2.5-gallon keg with metal handles, great homebrew kits, and the fully adjustable Serial Killer Grain Mill. Visit them in Philly for the 2013 National Homebrewers Conference. Not going to make it? Check out all the fun of Adventures in Homebrewing at homebrewing.org. For a limited time, coupon code BNetwork will slam 10% off your order. Bam! Adventures in Homebrewing. Join the adventure at the Great Lakes Home for homebrewing supplies. Online at homebrewing.org. And don't forget coupon code BNetwork for a limited time. Join the adventure today.
What's funny is brewers just say, yeah, I don't brew to style. I'm brewing my own beer. And it's like a German Pilsner, but it's black. Yeah, it's a sports beer. You know?
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer,
radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The Session. Tuned into the session because life's too short to listen to crappy radio.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're still talking to Tom Kehoe from Yards Brewing Company out there in Philadelphia. They've been doing their thing for quite some time and making some great beer. How far and wide are you distributed, Tom?
We're just in the Mid-Atlantic states.
You are, okay. And do you have I mean, you've mentioned explosive growth over the last 5 years. Are you planning to keep moving outward?
Yes, but very slowly. We're still filling in the Mid-Atlantic. We're planning on going to D.C. this fall and, getting the rest of Pennsylvania covered. And then north or south, that'll be the decision from there.
Okay, got it.
We're not in New York yet.
Oh, really? That's interesting because that's your closest huge beer market, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that a tough market to break into?
I don't think it's going to be that tough of a market to break into. I think we're going to have some nice sort of pent up demand before we get in there.
Right.
But I think the thing is, it's going to be a market where it's going to be a lot of volume if you go in there the right way, and it's going to be a little thinner margin because you're really going to have to get up there and sell the beer. You're going to have to spend some money on getting some good people on the street.
Got it. And it sounds like your point about that it's going to be a big market and you got to be ready for that, right? You can't go into the market and then everybody orders your beer and you don't have any.
Right, or not supply your current markets that you've been taking care of all these years because you went into a market that's taken too much of your product.
Yeah, that could piss some people off.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, you're the founder of Yards Brewing Company. Are you also still the head brewer? Are you in there on a daily basis or weekly basis?
I'm not there on a weekly basis.
You're not? Okay.
But, still part of all the, decision making with the beer styles and everything that, go in there. And if there's going to, if we need to make a change, that whole process, I'm part of that with the head brewers.
Okay. I can tell the difference, and I don't think that one way of looking at a job is any better than the other. But I can definitely tell the difference when some of our founders come on the program and talk about the beer, and you can tell when they're less involved in the beer. And the reason I asked you, Tom, if you're still brewing every day, because it sounds like you are. You're one of the founders. It sounds like you're in the brew house.
My heart's there, but
right. But now you have to run a company, damn it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
See, after all these years, you did have to get a real job.
Yes.
It's too bad.
They just didn't tell him yet.
Yeah, right.
He's the victim of his own success. He was too good.
Yeah.
It pulled him out of the brew house.
Yeah. So what beer did we open now, Moscow?
The Thomas Jefferson Tavern Ale.
Tell us about this one, Tom.
Well, this is one that we started doing a series of beers for the City Tavern in Philadelphia. It's on federal land. It's a tavern that basically does everything in the style of the revolutionary times when the Constitution was being written, the Declaration of Independence was being written. They say that basically it was some of the late nights were spent there writing this document.
Nice.
So one of the things that's we come up with some what we call original recipes to George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Ben Franklin also had a spruce beer. So we've recreated this recipe to be one of the beers that's sold there at the City Tavern.
Interesting.
It says right here on the label, based on Jefferson's original recipe, this golden ale includes ingredients that were specified and grown on his Virginia estate.
Yes.
This is another fine beer. And it's, what is it, 8%,
Yeah,
this one?
dangerous.
Yeah, it's a big beer.
Is that traditional as well to the recipe?
Actually, that is not. That is one of the few things that's really not as traditional. It originally was anywhere between 11 to 13% from what we can figure out.
Wow.
How can you figure that out? Like what documents?
Well, I guess he has letters that he had written in the farm book, and also he talks about the grain bill, that he uses twice as much grain as any normal brewer would. And
See, my man Jefferson knows how to party.
Yeah.
People think imperial ales are like a new thing. No.
Yeah, he's calling us pussies with his double grain bill over there.
He's like, I got away from these guys for a reason. I want to make strong beer.
Right. That's interesting. This bar you mentioned sounds interesting, that they do everything like back then that you made this beer for.
Everybody's dressed in costume, and, I guess everything that they make is, true to the times.
I hope they wear deodorant, though.
I can't answer that one.
I think they have the same bathing regime you do.
Well, yeah. I mean, some modern luxuries are here for a reason.
And let's separate bathing and deodorant, Doc. Deodorant will help with the lack of bathing.
Oh, yeah. I can
shower in a can.
I can go 4 or 5 days no shower as long as I have a good deodorant. That's my motto.
You have good friends that just kind of don't tell you about it.
Accept me for who I am. Now, we've been talking about cask ales, and that this has kind of been your thing since the beginning. So I hope this isn't a stupid question, but around town in Philadelphia, are they served on cask and served traditionally?
Yes, they are. There's probably about 40 plus beer engines in and around Philadelphia. We are predominantly the beer that's on beer engines.
Okay.
And then there's also some other kind of systems that people have drummed up besides just putting Firkin on top of the bar.
Got it. Okay. And what about it? Do you do some of the same ales in normal kegs then for other bars?
Yes, we do.
You do.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do both. And then of course we have it in bottles, so you bottle distribute as
we
well.
Bottle, we keg, and we it's a smaller part of the business doing the cask ale versions. So that's a lot less of the volume.
Okay. This is a unique beer. And I'm not picking up a strong alcohol flavor, so I like that. I think that I'm perceiving spruce in there. I also feel like I'm perceiving, Paul, maybe you can help with this. I know you got a good palate. It's not a spice. It's like a little bit of that green chili. You know when you talk about coffee beers, Nate, sometimes, and you talk about that green chili flavor that's on your tongue? I'm getting just a little heat like that. And I don't know if that's maybe just like a menthol from the spice or if it's an actual...
I know what you mean. I wouldn't have picked that out on my own. There's a little bit of that going on here. What do you think?
And maybe, Tom, you could tell us, too, about how you're using the spruce in it, if that's maybe what we're picking up.
The spruce is actually in the Ben Franklin. It's not in the Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, it's not in this one? Oh,
no.
Then I don't know what the hell I'm picking up with that spice flavor.
It's just, maybe it's just a big beer. I mean, it just tastes like it's got some strength to it. What's going on in the grain bill for this? I'm having a hard time guessing what it might be.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to forensically diagnose that beer without me telling you, I don't think. Basically, Jefferson wanted to make a beer with all the things he was growing at Monticello at the time. Okay. So he has a lot of wheat in there, which is about 30% of the malt bill.
Right.
It's also barley. It also is corn, rye,
and
the
rye
oats are in there.
And oats, okay.
Let alone that little ingredient that's probably throwing you for a little bit of a loop. There's also a pound of honey per barrel in that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think you're tasting the rye. There's just
The rye with
enough
the
in there to get that
spicy
spiciness,
rye.
just a little bit.
Okay. Oh, I never in a million years would have guessed honey.
Yeah, what's the honey for?
He was a beekeeper, and apparently we found out it was in the beer. So
it gets the alcohol level up.
Yeah.
What's the percentage of wheat approximately?
It's just about 30%.
30%. Okay, so it's a little bit of a wheat wine in a way.
Yeah.
Am I the only one who Thomas Jefferson makes feel like the laziest person on the planet?
Pretty much all the founding fathers.
He was drinking strong beer, hammered half the time, doing all this stuff.
Like, don't you just feel like a worthless douchebag when you read about these guys? They did. Not only did they do all these important things for our country and really, help us get to where we are today, but they had a good time brewing beer and growing their own food. And
they ran a big farm at the same time.
Yeah.
They had some people to do the work.
I don't even do my own grocery shopping anymore.
That did the work.
They had some people helping them.
I guess.
Yeah, they were Renaissance men. Let's not judge.
Okay. Well, I'm liking all of these beers, Tom, and this 8% one's kicking in fast. That along with the vertical epics that Jade and Roberto brought for us from Stone. And this interview is going to get good quick.
Yes.
My hockey game's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's right. You got to go play hockey tonight, too.
Championship.
Now, in the early days of Yards, did you? I have in my notes that you were trying to resurrect old recipes back then too.
Yeah, we started basically doing that in about 1989 when we first got in touch with the City Tavern. They were just having beers that were, I guess, made by just common beers that were made by other people, and they were just calling it Jefferson's Ale and Washington's Porter and things like that. And we were small enough at the time where we basically approached them. They were looking for someone to really do this. We said, we can really make the beer, and I'll sit down with you and we'll work on researching. And they already had a couple of the recipes, from I guess Washington's recipe, which is in the New York Public Library, and the Ben Franklin recipe, which was part of the Philosophical Society, had written down a recipe for a spruce beer that he had written. So we had those things going in the beginning, and we did a lot of research together to find out the Jefferson recipe.
You must have been their favorite person at that time. They probably blew their mind that they didn't actually have to just call some generic beer Jefferson anymore.
Yeah, they were really psyched. I think they felt it brought them up a notch. So and it's a really nice place too.
Okay. Couple other things in my notes so that you guys are 100% wind-powered brewery.
We are. It was funny when this is our fourth brewery in Philadelphia, so we've grown out of each brewery we've been in before. And when we moved this last time, we had a group of guys with us that really wanted to take those extra steps and try to do things as green, as sustainable as we could. And as we were going, we found the opportunity to become wind power and get the Pico, which is our local supplier, to actually outsource wind powers to take care of all of our kilowatts. So when we were able to do that, we said, you know what, it's the right thing to do, and we have guys that are willing to do this for us. So we end up signing up, and it just it got us noticed a little bit. We were Green Brewery of the Year in Philadelphia, or Green Business of the Year in Philadelphia in 2010.
Nice.
And it's really it's kind of rewarding when you're doing things the right way.
So let me make sure I have this straight. It doesn't mean that you have 100 windmills on top of your brewery. The grid that you're connected to comes from a wind-powered plant.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So other places could do this too. It's just a matter of being able to lock into this grid.
Yes. Yes.
It sounds like a no-brainer to me.
Well, the windmills have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, they're here in Pennsylvania.
And they're there. And maybe help me understand, why wouldn't more places do it? Is it just a limited amount of power, or is it more expensive?
Well, in the beginning, it was a little bit more expensive. It was basically about 5% more for our electric bill, which is very expensive. I mean, we're energy hogs at the brewery, and
okay.
But I think as things have, as we've grown and as we've gotten to a little bit higher level, it is not that much more expensive. I mean, we could be paying, less than 1% more for the wind power nowadays.
But that's a hard decision then in the beginning, especially for a company that's trying to grow, to shave off 5% to go over to more power.
Yeah, it's most people don't see us doing, see themselves spending more for something that they can get,
right.
Basically for, the normal cost.
Now, that's what I mean. You got to look at your bottom line and go, I'm literally taking 5% off of that so that I can do the right thing over here.
Right. It's like recycling. It's, you're going to do it and pay for it, or you're not going to do it. And
right.
You're a bad man if you don't.
That's right. Now, I also wanted to go back. I know I'm kind of jumping around a little, but I'm just looking through my notes. There's a few things I want to make sure we cover. And with all this English ale talk, we haven't talked about yeast with you. And I wonder if you have a house yeast, or do you use a variety of English yeast for your beers?
We have a house yeast. It actually goes back to there was a Strathcona brewery up in Vancouver that we got our original yeast with, and we've had that banked. From what I can tell, our yeast has changed a little bit since then, but we're still using that basic ale yeast.
Okay, for all of your beers.
For most of our beers.
Okay.
We do a couple Belgians. We do a couple other beers that we're going to get different yeast in for. I think you guys might have the Cape of Good Hope.
I don't know. I think the last... Yes,
that
the Imperial IPA. We do have that.
That's
yes.
coming
up next.
Oh, my God.
So that one has a... We wanted to make that a West Coast IPA in a sense, and we definitely used what we call the West Coast yeast, or the Chico yeast.
Okay. So you brought it in just for that?
Yes, exactly.
So you're not afraid to keep a few strains in the brew house, basically?
No, not at all. Yeah, we have a couple.
So that classic strain that you guys have been using is closer to a classic English strain or something kind of along those lines, you think? It's probably hard to tell for sure, but... Yeah,
it's definitely an English strain that definitely will give you a decent amount of fruit, but it's pretty clean.
Do you know which of the...
Yeah. I'm sorry?
I'm just wondering if the home brewer left in you knows maybe the equivalent of what we might find from White Labs or something.
From like White Labs, it would probably be pretty close to somewhere is in between the 002 and I guess the drier one. It's a little bit drier than the 002.
Is that the London? Is that different also?
07's the dry English.
It's just dry English. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Somewhere between 02 and 07 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you like to treat your yeast, temperature-wise, and does it go through pretty quick for you? Do you have to wait a while for your fermentations?
Well, sometimes it depends on the beer, but most of the time for our pale ale, our IPA, our ESA, we're at about 68 degrees, and we kind of try to keep it there for the whole fermentation.
Okay. So right in the White Lab zone,
right in the pocket,
68 degrees. Now, Doc.
Yeah.
Even this IPA, I would say, as far as an IPA is going to go, it might be in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, definitely.
Doc's not a hophead over here, Tom.
And I usually shy away from IPAs just in general because we're on the West Coast and it's way over my head so many times. But this is well-rounded. I was pleasantly surprised by the sweetness of it.
Yeah.
Where instead of just being dry and hoppy, it's actually got a nice balanced sweetness.
It does.
And the hoppiness is not in your face either.
Right. Is this English ingredients too, Tom, or are you going to throw us a curveball on this one?
No. It's the English, or it's the... Well, so some English malts in there, but for the most part, it's a Chico yeast. It's 2-row pale malt, U.S. pale malt, and... Yeah, just crystal, which is a British crystal, but for the most part, it's straight up, and it's a lot of hop in there. We got some Columbus in there. We have some let's see, I'm trying to think, Columbus Galaxies in there, and El Dorado.
Okay.
Oh, a lot of new school stuff going on.
Yeah.
And at 8.1%.
Yeah, no, this one is actually hitting 9% this year.
Oh, nice.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That'll add to the sweetness in there. And
This is one of our beers we change every year. This is a seasonal offering. Actually, it's offered 1 month. That's its season. And we just basically brew a lot of it, and we change it every single year to be a little bit different. Last year was definitely a little bit maltier. But this year we wanted to make it, as kind of West Coasty as we could.
Okay. Well, I wonder if what I'm picking up then when I say, when I thought English ingredients is house flavor. This might be one of those examples if you can't take the house flavor out of a brewery. And this has, I mean, in terms of the beers we've had tonight, this has yards written all over it. I like it. I like this one too. I like all of them.
Really clean ferment quality on it.
Now, you guys don't have brew pubs or anything like that. You're just a production facility?
No, we have what we call a tasting room. We're not really. We have some food because we need to, but we're not really a restaurant.
Okay.
We're only open noon to 7 every day.
Good for you. Who wants to run a restaurant? What a pain in the ass that is.
Yeah, when you don't get time in the brewery.
That's right. All right. Well, since we're running out of time, I do have one question that came in from the chat room, and then I also wanted to get to our recipe from you, if we could do that.
Sure.
But one question from the chat room came in, and it goes back to the wind power. They wanted to know about using solar panels, if that's something that you guys have or will look into, or why you haven't done that yet.
One of the reasons is we don't own the building.
Okay.
And it's kind of not our decision on that.
Right.
So we did the best thing we could other than that, which was to do the wind power.
Okay. And did you look into it? Like, I wonder if that would have been even more expensive than the increase in wind power to do solar for you on that scale, I mean, I guess after the energy is cheaper, but the initial investment is enormous to put solar up.
Yeah, well, they were giving away a lot of credits and things like that, and some grant money to be able to do that. And we would have went along that road. But we, fortunately, we made the decision to go with wind, and it's worked out.
Okay.
And wind happens 24 hours a day, which is great.
I think Portland is going to start using bike power for all of their breweries. Have you heard that, JP?
I have heard that. As a matter of fact, it's that, but they're going to lube everything with mustache wax.
Yes, and bikes. You're just going to see a bunch of stationary bikes on the rooftops of breweries all over the city.
Right.
I figured now that JP's here, I'm allowed to start telling stupid jokes. So instantly, when you sat down, they just popped into my head.
It's all going to be run on recycled bike parts.
Yeah, that's their whole marketing plan. I think that's Hopworks' marketing plan already. All right, what recipe do you have for us today, Tom?
Well, I have to be honest, I didn't really get the recipe like I was supposed to, but I did quickly at the break jot down a recipe with percentages. Will that work?
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, no need to go any more in depth than that. That's fine. And I like your resourcefulness.
So we'll basically do the Thomas Jefferson recipe.
Great, perfect.
So we're going to start off with a 58% two-row.
All right.
Followed by 30% wheat malt.
Okay.
4% corn, which is flaked maize.
All right.
4% rye. And 4% rolled oats. The hop, the boil hop is going to be Chinook and Liberty.
Okay.
Chinook is going to be, well, we're shooting for about 38 IBUs.
All right.
With both of those combined, but Chinook's going to be basically about 2/3 of that hop bill for the boil hop.
Okay.
The finish hop is going to be just Liberty.
And so is that 5 minutes or flame out?
That's 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that'll be just Liberty hop.
Got it.
And we're wanting to get, I guess, is for IBUs in that. We're looking at a 5% utilization, so it's almost exactly half of what the Chinook and Liberty bill is. So I don't know how to figure that out right now.
That's okay.
But that's what I'm sorry. I had this down on my office, and unfortunately, I'm at home now doing this.
You failed us entirely, Tom.
Did.
No, it's okay. It's fine. That's a pretty close recipe, and I think some people could figure it out. And then,
and I would say just use on this one. I would definitely use the regular English yeast, the 002 with White Labs.
Okay, and 68 degrees. You said.
Yeah, it's 68 degrees. You definitely want to keep it. Keep some of that sweetness in there.
Okay. Well, folks at home, it was a fine beer, so I recommend taking a stab at it.
Yeah.
And get some good, fresh English ingredients in that malt bill, because that was just excellent. So, good stuff, Tom. Thanks for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
No, this was great. I loved every minute of it.
Great. Folks, you can go to yardsbrewing.com if you want to look more into the brewery. And in fact, I noticed this, Tom, just looking at your website, you have quite a few events that you're involved with. There's a Breast Fest event that's on there.
Yes.
It looked like there was obviously a breast cancer research fund for that. It looked like there was a barbecue event you guys are doing.
Yeah, the 22nd, just in a couple weeks, we have our Smoke 'em If You Got 'em, which is an amateur barbecue contest.
Nice.
And we also do we have smoked beers on tap, and we do different smoked beer every year. This one was a recipe from our packaging manager. It's basically a smoked malt liquor, and we call it Smoked 45.
Very nice. I love it. That's good.
Smoked.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Very nice. Head over to yardsbrewing.com and check them out. And go stop into the brewery and thank, Tom's probably working in the back, but thank somebody for letting Tom be on the show today if you're in the area. Tom, I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Thanks. It was great, guys. I appreciate it. It was awesome.
Take care.
All right.
There you go. Tom Kehoe. He's from Yards Brewing Company. He's the founder, and he gets his hands dirty in that brewery. He knows what's going on around there. So go check him out and get some of this beer. This is fine English-style ale right here in America. You know?
I'm going to be in Philly in a few weeks. I want to stop by. I didn't make it there when we were there in June for NHC.
Oh, he's got the whole tasting room, so
yeah,
no reason you shouldn't be there.
I dig Brawler. That was probably my favorite. That was excellent.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, that was fun, and the beer was great. I'm glad they sent it over to us, so we got to really enjoy it. I'm also still enjoying my vertical epics from Jade and Roberto. I still have 4 in my glass. It's hard to taste that and go back to the English ales. So I was trying. It's just been waiting for after the interview so I can get more to it.
Sounds like I missed all the good beer.
You did?
No,
you missed
no.
it?
We still have a barley wine that just came out of an oak barrel about a week ago.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, and Paul Sangster's still in the studio with us, and he brought a crap load of beer.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you probably need a ride home.
Oh, no, I got dropped off, man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you're in good shape, man.
I'm ready for it.
You're about to end. You're not even coming to work. You're ending your vacation is what you're doing, son.
Yeah.
Hey, I did our Twitter game this week, and I want to. You now get to sit in my chair and judge me, like I do you each week. All right, so here was our Twitter game.
Did you tweeter it?
Oh no, I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay.
I just mentioned it on air, and you actually do something after you say it.
Yeah, I actually do things.
Oh,
you put it on Twitter, so then it's actually a Twitter game.
Oh, well, you could do it now,
and then you have to monitor the responses that come in and select them. But go ahead.
I
tell me
figured
what
you'd be able to go back and find the responses, but I didn't realize I actually had to put it in the Twitterscape.
Well, otherwise it's just a game.
It's called the Twitterscape, though, right? I got that right.
I don't know. It can be.
Okay.
How do you spell it?
I don't know.
Shit.
So here was your Twitter game today. It's that Tasty isn't here tonight because he's backstage at the Dave Matthews Band concert.
Oh yeah, Taryn's supposed to go to that.
Oh, she should have gone with Tasty.
Well, she didn't know anybody who wanted to go. Anyway, long story.
She could be backstage blowing Dave Matthews right now with Tasty. Wait, not together. That's not what I meant. So the Twitter game is this. If Dave Matthews were to write a song about Tasty after spending the night with him backstage, what would the song be called? What do you think? How'd I do?
It's not bad.
It's okay, right?
It's not bad.
We'll see what we get.
Is he really backstage at the Dave Matthews concert?
So he says.
Why?
Wow, that is exactly what I was going to say.
Like on purpose?
There's some story behind it. I don't know if
it's always the backstory.
Someone gave him ticket. I don't know what happened.
Tasty goes where the ladies are.
Right.
Yeah, I think that
he's in heaven right now.
Probably true there.
You know, he probably wouldn't even gone unless he got backstage.
There's a bunch of dirty hippie chicks backstage with him right now. He's in heaven. He's a happy guy.
Have anybody checked Facebook lately? See what's going on there?
I hope he brought his Cialis.
I don't think
I'm
he travels
pretty sure
without
he-
it.
yeah.
He loaded he pre-gamed before he went.
I think he keeps one like hidden in his cheek, so he can just like it's like cyanide. He can just bite down on it.
Kind of like a little chipmunk.
Yeah, it's like that's his cyanide pill. Bevo, you're good sometimes.
Thank you.
Sometimes. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Paul Sangster. We'll find out about it's Rip Tide, right? Not Rip Curl. Rip Current.
Rip Current.
Damn it. Third time's a charm. Rip Current Brewing. We'll be back. Hang in there.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Where do you go for all the stuff you need to brew? Homebrewstuff.com, of course. In their Boise, Idaho storefront and warehouse, they have more than 750 craft beers and 8,000 square feet of homebrew products in stock. The staff at Homebrew Stuff are homebrewers themselves. They try out just about everything, including the beer, so they can answer your questions knowledgeably and correctly about brewing, kegging, and anything else you might need to ask. Don't live near the Homebrew Stuff store? Visit homebrewstuff.com online and take advantage of their $7.95 domestic shipping available on most orders. Homebrewstuff.com is a proud sponsor of the AHA, NHC, GABF, and countless other acronyms. So if you're a homebrewer looking for great people, a great selection, and great deals, head to homebrewstuff.com, online or in person. Visit their YouTube channel for loads of free how-to and product videos. All of the stuff you need to brew. homebrewstuff.com. Do you know the three most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SanaClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. When Blickman Engineering set out to design a great brewing stand, they knew it had to be strong, adaptable, and last for a lifetime. The top-tier brewing stand is now proudly available at BlickmanEngineering.com. It grows with your brewing skills and equipment. Start with 5-gallon coolers on its heavy-gauge stainless steel shelves. Then move all the way up to 30-gallon pots on the high-output burner tiers. Speaking of burners, the custom Blickman Engineering top-tier burners are extremely powerful, efficient, and amazingly quiet. They have safety stops to center your pot, and they'll last a lifetime and won't rust. The top-tier brewing stand allows virtually infinite combinations from traditional gravity systems to 2 tiers to completely horizontal. Configure your stand the way you want and have the freedom to change it at any time in the future. Your brewing stand should adapt with you, not force you to learn a new process. Visit BlickmanEngineering.com today to configure your top-tier brewing stand and to find a local Blickman retailer. You'll be surprised with all the flexible features and the competitive price. Start brewing with Blickman from the top tier.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for any beer style. I want a Cicerone. The Cicerone certification program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
By popular vote from the Northwest Brewing News, HopTech has been voted the best homebrew shop in Northern California. Serving homebrewers for nearly 30 years in Dublin, California, HopTech carries more than 40 different kinds of hops and more than 60 different grains. Malt extract, spices and sugars, hop oils and extracts. Open every day except Wednesday or shop online anytime at hoptech.com or call 1-800-DRY-HOPS, 1-800-379-4677. With in-store classes almost every Saturday, huge selection and a dedicated commitment to their customers, HopTech is one of the longest-running and passionate homebrew stores, period. And now, by popular vote, the best homebrew shop in Northern California. And don't forget their 15% military discount. HopTech. Visit today at hoptech.com.
Mix me your 100-grain amber recipe, and I'm going to eat it. And then it can ferment in my gut. It totally works. The beer is almost identical to the grain sandwich.
Your colon won't know what hit it.
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer,
radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The Session.
Sitting at a bar on the inside, waiting for a ride on the outside. She broke my heart in the trailer park, so I checked the keys to her ugly car and crashed that piece of junk and then stepped away.
Bartender, I really did it this time. Broke my parole to have a good time. When I got home, it was 6 a.m. The door was locked, so I kicked it in. She was tripping on the bills. I think she was high on some pills. She threw my shit out into the yard. Then she called me a bum and slapped me real hard. And in my drunken stupor, I did what I should have never done. Now I'm sitting here talking to you, drunk and on the run. I'm sitting at a bar on the inside, waiting for my ride on the outside. She stole my heart in the trailer park, so I jacked the keys to her fucking car and crashed that piece of shit, then stepped away. No mo, I'll probably get 10 years, so just give me beers till they get here. Yeah, I know the sun is coming up, and y'all are probably getting ready for closing up. But I'm trying to drown my soul. I'm tired of this life on a dirt road, and everything that I love is gone, and I'm tired of hanging on. She got me sitting at a bar on the inside, waiting for my ride on the outside. She stole my heart in the trailer park, so I jacked the keys to her fucking car and crashed that piece of shit, then stepped Guess away. It was meant to be. Romance is misery, so much for memories, and now I'm headed to the penitentiary. See me on TV, the next cop series. I am a danger. I guess I should have did something about my anger, but I never learned. Real things I'm not concerned about. For kerosene on everything I love and watch it burn. I know it's my fault, but I wasn't happy it was over. She threw a fit, so I crashed her Nova, and now I'm going back again, back to the pen to see my friends. And when we all pile out that county van, they're gonna ask me where I've been. I've been at a bar on the inside, waiting for my ride on the outside. She stole my heart in the trailer park, so I jacked the keys to her fucking car and crashed that piece of shit, then stepped away. No, 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 no.
I'm sitting apart from the laughter and the cheer, while scenes from the past rise before me, just watching the bubbles in my beer. And I'm seeing the road that I've traveled, a road paved with heartaches and tears. And I'm seeing the past that I've wasted while watching the bubbles in my beer. A vision of someone who loved me brings a long silent tear to my eye, as I think of the heart that I've broken and of the golden chances that have passed me by. Oh, I know that my life's been a failure, and I've lost everything that made life dear. And the dreams I once dreamed now are empty as the bubbles in my beer. Vision of someone who loved me brings a long silent tear to my eye. And as I think of the heart that I've broken and of the golden chances that have passed me by, oh, I know that my life's been a failure. I've lost everything that made life dear. The dreams I once dreamed now are empty as the bubbles in my beer.
Beer. This is the session.
Yes, sir. Thanks to Tom Kehoe. He's the founder of Yards Brewing Company, and we appreciate him spending a bunch of time on the program with us today, sending us some good beer. And I really did like all those beers. I'd go buy a mixed variety pack of that any day because they were all pretty well done. It's funny your timing, JP, because you came in right after we tried all of the English beers, and it was back to IPAs, right? Right when you walked in the door. Before that, you would have enjoyed everything he had to offer.
Well, I see there's a bottle of this Jefferson.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, give that a shot. That's a good 8% or 2, so that'll start you off right.
There's about a 90% chance I'm actually related to Thomas Jefferson.
Really?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Well, now I want to drink it even more. I want to drink his essence.
There you go. So Tom also gave us a recipe, a homebrew recipe, actually for that beer that we're talking about, the Thomas Jefferson. If you need a place to house your recipes and get your formulas all ready for brew day and set up everything you need to do, go over to our old friends at beersmith.com. You can use Beersmith 2 homebrewing software. That's the most recent one. And download a free 21-day trial. Brad over there at Beersmith, Brad Smith, has figured out that 21 days is plenty of time for you to figure out how badass his software is. So get your free trial. Check it out. You don't have to calculate by hand. You can design amazing beers. Brew with confidence because all of the calculators are there to help you through it. I know Doc uses it now.
I talked another person into it this week.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just so robust. It has everything a brewer needs.
Well, they asked me how to do something. Do you have Beersmith?
Right.
And, well, no, not yet. I go, well, if you do that, and this is what it's going to do for you, and then I don't have to teach you how to do that. But
when I was at your place when you were brewing the Roggen beer, too, I remember you telling me we're in the middle of the decoction, and I was asking you, how the heck did you figure out how much you're supposed to do and the portion and the timing? And you said, punch it into Beersmith.
Yeah.
There's actually a decoction calculator.
And I didn't even know it until I threw that into the recipe and want to do a decoction, and then ask you want to do 1, 2, 3 decoctions. What's your volumes, and it tells you how much to pull off, boil it, throw it back in, and it was pretty spot on.
It sounds like almost even I could do a decoction with Beersmith brewing software.
Almost.
Well, maybe if you punched in all the numbers into the Beersmith for me.
It's not a miracle worker.
All right, go to beersmith.com right now. Get your free 21-day trial. You know, Brad's got a homebrewing book over there and a blog, and there's video. I dare say, maybe I should be worried about Brad catching up with us on content. I mean, he's doing a bunch of interviews, and...
Well, he probably makes money.
Shit. Maybe we should drop his ass.
Maybe we should make money.
Shit. Maybe we should at least talk to him for advice.
Yeah, let's get rid of the person who makes the money. Done.
Right. Go to beersmith.com right now. We love Brad and his software.
Yep.
It's really good stuff.
I think his recipe side of his site, too. I've started putting all my stuff in there. Listeners that want to read about recipes I've talked about in the past.
You're uploading them there?
I'm uploading them there, so people who want to check that out.
Love it.
Look for it. If you can't find it, let me know.
What's it called?
What would they search? Just Nathan Smith in the recipe database?
Yeah,
or what?
just search Nathan Smith, and then you'll see it in there.
Okay. Are you the only Nathan Smith, or is there a Nathan Smith?
There is none other.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not like a Nathan Smith who's won several competitions.
Right. See, you notice that? Right. You notice that there's Brad Smith, the guy who wrote this thing,
right,
and me. So
you guys related?
There you go. Yeah.
Great.
They're married, actually.
I think when you start
Thanks,
winning,
JP.
I think when you start winning again, Nate, we're going to start calling you Evil Nate. That won't be the Nathan we know and love.
Oh, no.
Right. I have to pay off the devil to win now.
We're all accusing him of cheating and stuff.
Make a sacrifice.
By the way, why are you not going to the NorCal Homebrew Fest with us, Nate?
I didn't get tickets in time, and then too much time went by. I didn't want to beg, borrow, or steal from somebody to get them, so I said, "I'll forget it."
You made other plans.
Guys made other plans. Yeah, I'm going
because I had a line on tickets for you, man.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. I figured I could probably get them from you, but I wasn't going to assume that. And then too much time went by. I said, "Forget it." I'm leaving on tour the next week anyways, so I have a bunch of shit to do.
People still go to your shows?
People still go to my shows. I know it's weird, right?
What's the band called again?
Brain Oil.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're going to the East Coast.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you going to the East Coast this time?
We're going to the East Coast this time, yeah.
You guys actually have a hell of a following when you go do things like that around the country.
A couple of people show up. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we're going to go to all the places you might expect on the East Coast: Philly, New York, Boston.
You still get road vag at your age?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I mean,
it might not happen anymore.
Yeah,
but that might be my last tour. I'll know this is it, right?
I would think Nicole should allow it. If it's your last tour, you should be allowed to get road vag.
Well, because she could easily say, "Sure, go for it. If all you get."
Right? She's like, "Yeah, just try."
When she would come from the Midwest, though.
Oh yeah, don't you know? Just get all the veg you can.
And it's old veg too. Old veg.
It's very good.
Mm.
How old are you, Nate? Am I allowed to ask that?
You could probably guess.
38.
You're within 1 year. You're good.
39.
In which direction?
Exactly.
Are you 39?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad, because if it was getting closer to my age, the other direction, I was getting nervous.
You're like, I don't want to look like Nate soon. That's no good.
Could happen. We're both destined for failure.
Well, you have long hair. You can just let it go a lot longer.
I was thinking about cutting my hair today.
I think about it all the time.
Do you remember?
Might happen on tour. You never know.
It's a pain in the ass. That's why.
It kind
Do
of
you remember
is,
what
yeah.
you look like with short hair?
That's what's stopping me.
Because actually, I was at Bee's house
Exactly.
I was at Bee's house last weekend, and she has a little magnet of like the bobbleheads with you with the short hair, and I'm like, who the is that? Oh, wow. All right, he's a meth dealer.
It's the only thing stopping me, because it's a pain in the ass, and then I got to have this little faggy ponytail when I put a hat on, and but there's nothing I could do about it unless I cut it.
You got to shower a little more often. You got to wash it sometimes. You got to clean all that hair. It's kind of a pain.
I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah.
I have a great picture of you with short hair.
Oh man.
You're like 120 pounds. You look like you were a full-on meth addict.
Did I have my braces
you
on
had
too?
braces too.
Oh boy.
He did live in the desert.
That's true.
You see, Paul, I haven't always been the Adonis you see before you today.
It's great how your friends are keeping track of these old pictures of you, just in case they might need it.
That's not creepy or anything.
No, it's not creepy
It's
at all.
so great that it's actually, I swear to God, it is on the mirror of my vanity in my bedroom. Like sometimes I'll just get ready in the morning and I just look at it and I giggle.
Fuck you. Did I have a shaved head? Because I did at one point in my life look like an AIDS patient.
Oh dear God, no.
Yeah.
But if that picture ever arises, I'd like to see it.
All right, we'll come back to that later because Vinny Chilurza was telling me I was ugly this weekend too, but that's a whole other story. We'll get back to that. Right now, we've got Paul Sangster, our old friend, home brewer turned pro, in the studio with Rip, the all-new Rip Current Brewing Company.
Rip Current, you got it.
Down in, did you say San Marcos?
San Marcos, yeah.
Okay.
It's just off the 78. Most of the breweries in San Diego are off of one of the two big east-west freeways, and it's just because that's where all the warehouses are.
Got it. So
right
you're now essentially part of the San Diego beer scene.
Yeah, that's great. I've always wanted to be part of it besides just drinking all the beer.
Sure.
I'm still doing that, by the way.
Did you quit your day job to do this, or are you still kind of moonlighting?
Yeah, I'm still moonlighting. There's no way I could do this if it wasn't for my partner, Guy.
Okay.
He moonlights also, and then we have 4 guys who are in there all the time.
Wow. So what did you do? Did you buy a little brew house or a big brew house? I know nothing about this brewery.
Yeah, we went to Premier, which is also in San Marcos. They make brew houses all around the world, and we have a 15-barrel system.
Okay.
Bunch of fermenters, so it's a legit small, microbrewery. We don't even have the stacked system. We have the microbrewery configuration. We have a separate hot liquor tank.
Okay.
So if you saw it, it would look like a regular small microbrewery.
And did you buy 15-barrel fermenters too, or 30s, or?
Yeah, we so that's always an interesting topic when you go to talk to them because they want they're always pushing you to plan ahead, but you only have so much money when you go in.
Right.
So we have 2 15 fermenters and a 15 bright, and then we have 1 30 fermenter, and we just ordered another 30 fermenter.
Okay.
And we have room for 6 more 30s. So
wow. So you planned in the footprint.
Absolutely.
Even as you not buying the equipment up. Is a 30 double the price, or is it not quite that because they're building it anyway?
That's a great question, and that's the reason everyone tells you get as big as you can. The price difference is like 15%.
Okay.
For doubling it. So there's a good argument for always doing that, but you have to put in the infrastructure to handle all these bigger tanks if you're going to do that.
Oh, I see.
So it's indirect cost.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Plus, at that, when you're really, especially you're keeping your day job, you've gotten whatever money you can, even 15% could be a big deal when it comes down to it.
Adds up. There's other things that you don't expect that you have to pay for.
Right.
When you're dealing with permits in the government, they want you to do things you would never have guessed, and it costs money.
Now, why did you open a pro brewery? Do you think that you're going to... Is it to make a bunch of money? Do you not like your job? Is it just a challenge?
To get road badge.
And I ask that because I think people... I know a lot of successful... Jamil, for example. Successful guy without brewing. Then he becomes extremely successful in home brewing, like yourself, Paul. And he says the whole time, I don't want to be a pro brewer. This is a hobby. I love it. But ultimately, he decides that's the path for him. And I think he has a lot of reasons for doing it. And one of them is of course, to make money. I think other people have there's just all sorts of reasons to do it. Why would you open a brewery?
I think 90% of it is stupidity. The other 10% is somewhere in the area of, my entire life I've just been really into beer. When I was 11 years old, I started collecting beer cans. So if you come by the brewery, we have an entire wall of beer cans.
Wow.
People are like, where the hell did you get all these beer cans?
I can't believe your parents let you keep those from 11 on.
Well, the nice thing was my dad had to drink a lot of them because I couldn't drink them all. So
right, okay.
Although I did help a little bit.
You gave him a reason to drink all those beers. You're
right.
You got to have the collection.
Exactly. But he wasn't a big beer drinker, so it was kind that they did that.
Cool.
But my great-great-grandfather opened one of the first 20 breweries in the U.S., so I've always assumed that there was something weird in my blood besides alcohol that's driving me in this direction.
Sure.
But really the thing that threw it over was winning Ninkasi, and then when you win Ninkasi, you get a lot of attention, and investors come to you and say, hey, we want to fund you to do this.
Wait, stop right there.
Okay.
You mean the phone actually starts ringing after you win Ninkasi, like just all on its own, or you're going to investors with this on your resume?
In one case, the phone literally rang on my desk.
Wow.
There was a local, a guy who owned a warehouse, and he said, I really want a brewery to go in my warehouse. So if you can find some money, and I'll even help invest in you, we would love to have you be one of our tenants.
That's amazing.
But otherwise, it was just sort of word of mouth, talking to people, hey,
Sure.
if you ever wanted to do it, I've got money, I'd be happy to do it.
But once again, what a testament for what it means to win Ninkasi. And we've always said that on here. We've always congratulated all of you guys that do it. But really, we do that because you really have to brew superb beer to do it. So it just and consistently. Mm-hmm. So it's always meant, to us, to homebrew nerds, you really must be a great brewer. It's nice that it's actually credibility outside us homebrew nerds.
Yeah, I think part of it is if you're established in your local beer community too.
Okay.
Because so I had like things in the paper and stuff, and that otherwise most people would have no idea.
Right.
But
So do you want to? I can only assume you want to quit your day job and really work this brewery one day.
Someday I do. For sure. I would love to do that.
What is your day job? I forget.
I'm an engineer.
Okay.
Nate and I were talking about technical stuff last night.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I do Android development, and I really enjoy that too.
Okay.
And it's a total contrast, but there's just not enough hours in the day to do everything.
Sure. The cosine of the pi is related directly to the volume of the fluctuation of the flux capacitor.
Right.
And
You always have to throw, every non-technical person has to throw flux capacitor into the nerd joke.
And cosine.
Right?
Because that's the only two things I ever remember from school, and I'm pretty sure one of them is from a movie.
Right.
But I don't
You don't know which one.
I don't know which one.
So we actually saw the. Did you see the vehicle?
Yeah.
Yesterday we saw the time machine from that movie.
Oh, really?
I guess you can rent time on it. We were outside
The
of City
DeLorean?
Beer.
The DeLorean.
With
It
the
looked exact replica.
with the Mr. Fusion mounted on the top and everything. And I guess their deal is that you pay and you can ride it around the block.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We were all like, "Wow, we want to do that."
Of
So you
course.
can rent time on a time machine?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, it sounded really cool.
In like 1,000 years, when they invent a time machine, people are going to do the same thing. I need to rent like 4 hours back. Well, all right, $1 million.
Yeah, this was on Folsom Ave in San Francisco yesterday at City Beer. That's where Paul had an event for the brewery yesterday, and so they know where to go. They know where there's a bunch of people drinking beer who want to ride around a DeLorean.
Yeah. Put the drunk people behind the DeLorean.
That's perfect. Just when you're about to crash, it disappears.
Well, yeah, well, right. Well, they know that no one's going to steal it because you can't get to 88 miles an hour in the city. It's impossible.
1.21 gigawatts or whatever it was.
Without going over all the hobos.
That's true. The new version is actually fueled by hobos. It's not garbage anymore. It's hobos. So how long has beer been leaving the brewery at Rip Current? How long have you guys been on the market?
We opened in December after almost a year of just getting everything done. It just takes a long time.
Got it.
And right now we don't bottle. We just do growlers, and we have a tasting room. We have about a 1,500 square foot tasting room. And so that's where most of our beer comes out. But we also have about 55 accounts around town.
It seems like a very difficult market, specifically the San Diego, San Marcos market, to open a brewery right now. I mean, it's a lot of competition.
That's right. Yeah, I think a lot of people look at all the new breweries and say, why are you doing this? It's already saturated. The way I always looked at it is, could I add something to the overall beer culture? Not necessarily thinking the competitive part, but could I reach out to people who aren't drinking craft beer right now and expand the whole market?
Yeah.
And if everybody does that, then there is room for more breweries.
Do you find that people are looking for more breweries anyway, even though there's a ton of them, or are you doing something special that's bringing people in the doors?
It's a good question. I think a lot of people are curious about all the new breweries, so they're always going to come visit you. So you can expect kind of a bubble at the beginning.
Yeah.
But the true test is not what they tell you. Because like your homebrewing friends, they're all going to love your beer when they're talking to you.
Yeah.
But do they come back? Do they buy a pint when they're there? That's the real question.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And are you finding yourselves with repeat customers? And are you brewing, often and getting the beer out of that building?
Yeah. Well, our sales have been growing across the board, and we're fortunate that there's a lot of great beer bars around San Diego, and there's an increasing number, and it's like the who's who of the ones. Those are our best customers. They keep rebuying it, which tells us that their customers are buying it, so we're not screwing up too bad.
Great.
So,
Did you have to have connections with those places? And I don't mean that you're doing anything illegal, but I mean, is it that they know you, that they know your name, or have they seen you around? Did that help?
It definitely helped when we first opened. Our initial marketing was crickets. We didn't do anything. We kind of opened, and then we got a flood of emails from local places saying, hey, we want to carry your beer.
Nice.
We didn't really do anything. And we didn't really even have a salesperson until about a month ago.
Okay.
So we've kind of saturated the people who kind of either I knew or that knew of me or knew someone that knew who I was, or that whole thing.
Sure.
But now we're in that next phase of trying to compete with people to get on tap at like a restaurant. And so far that's going really well.
You said you have 50 accounts right now, approximately.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just 10 months into the first year.
Yeah, 9 months.
And that's without a dedicated salesperson in the beginning, at least.
That's right.
That says a lot,
That's
I think.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
No, there is room. But in San Diego, it's all about quality. So anybody can get an account, but if you can hold the account, because people really expect the beer to stand out, and it's tough because there's so many great beers there.
So by comparison, the Brewing Network has been, its doors have been opened, its various doors, for 8 years. We have nowhere near 50 accounts, so to speak, sponsors. However, as Jade will attest, our sponsor retention is fabulous.
Fuck yeah.
HopTech has been with us for years. But boy, why don't we have 50 accounts, JP? What do we
don't have a salesperson.
No, man. We don't have a salesperson.
Did you hire a salesperson? Is that the secret?
I can't admit to that.
Again, it's the whole thing with money.
I should read a book.
I have a book you can read.
Any book. Just a book.
All the places you'll go.
I'm going to read that book.
You should.
All the places you'll go.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of beers are you focused on? A specific type, or are you all over the board?
Well, this is going to sound weird unless you ever came to my garage, but in the old days when I was a home brewer, I had 18 beers on tap at home all the time because I was trying to brew every style. And what we kind of did was we opened this place with the eye towards having variety so that people would come back not only to retry their favorites, but come back because they knew every time they came in there'd be something different. So one of the things we do that homebrewers would love is we have a more beer system, my old more beer system, and we brew on that almost every week.
Okay.
And we do everything like a home brewer would, all the way into corny kegs. And then we have one tap at the tasting room that we rotate between styles, 5 gallons at a time.
Right.
So you know you're going to get something that you haven't had before because it probably wasn't ever on before.
That's a great hybrid. We've had folks, professionals, come in here and say, we're just going to do new stuff all the time. And
yeah.
I kind of like the concept. But even with my homebrew friends, let's take Tasty, for example. And everybody who knows Tasty, we all want his Janet's Brown to be on tap all the time. Mm-hmm. But if he experiments with something, it's the first thing we want to taste also. We'll taste anything the guy brews. So we want the experimental, but we'll be disappointed if we leave his brew house having only tasted his experimental new batch and not gotten to try Janet's Brown. That's right. So it's a good hybrid that you're doing. Get those standards in there. But if people rely on those standards and they know all the beers you produce are good, I'm going to try the new one every time too.
Yeah, we have 19 on tap right now, which is a lot for a little brewery. So what I think is people will come back because they know they're going to get to try one or two they haven't had before.
Right.
And maybe they'll just do a sampler of that, and then they'll get a pint of whatever their favorite is.
Got it.
So
it sounds like you've watched Field of Dreams a lot, and you thought if you built it, people would come.
We've tried that sort of idea.
Right. Is the More Beer system your old your Ninkasi homebrew system that's in the show?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
We just scaled it up a little bit because so I had the old 15-gallon system, 1550.
Oh yeah.
And so we had to take it up because 20 gallons goes in an instant.
Oh, I bet.
Tasting room.
Can you, with the same stand, you can just scale up the kettles? Is that what you did?
Yeah, that's the way they originally designed. Well, that's the way the current generation it was designed.
Is that the flat system you have too, or is it
the 2-level?
It's the 2-level. Okay.
Yeah, it has the tippy on the top.
Yeah. Yep.
And the hardest part is you have to just replace the kettles, which is no big deal. But then you also have to replace the basket that holds the mash tun that's on the top.
Right.
And so it wasn't too expensive, and it worked great.
Okay.
We're using it all the time now.
And are those the wide kettles, or are they kind of tall and slender like my? I guess mine are. What are they? 15-gallon or something?
You may have the old, what they call Italian kettles, which are the taller, skinnier ones.
That's what I have.
And I have the mega pots, which is the generation right after that, which are the triple-clad stainless, aluminum stainless.
Got it.
They're a little lower and a little wider.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't rate that.
No. In fact, I mean, I have Jamil's first system, so I literally have one of the. I don't know. JP could maybe attest to this. I don't want to say it's one of the very first 1550s, but it's up there. I mean, it's close to the original design.
It was
right?
one of the first iterations, I think, and it was, I think, the first that had any semblance of automation to it.
Oh, yeah.
I think. It was kind of, in that realm.
And the automation still works. I don't know how to work it, but I know it works.
You've seen it work.
I've seen it work. I've definitely seen it work.
Well, I saw a video about some guy reading about it, but
yeah,
that's
But right, you know what? I'm going to make it my goal to read a book this week.
Fuck, I have a book you can read. I have a couple.
Any book. I think it's going to help us out a lot. We're going to have a meeting next week about me reading a book.
Book club,
and we'll see if the company grows.
Book club,
because that's all you have to do, right?
Let's do a book club.
First rule about book club: don't talk about book club.
Right.
But no, it's just going to make them all confused for next week.
All these emotions are coming to the surface.
Bad idea.
What other beer did you bring?
Well, then he's going to start to think he's better than us because he read a book.
He can think all he wants.
Is your beer here?
In the book I read, I just wanted to say that ordering sandwiches is really difficult.
So that's Bonzer Pale Ale, which is a 5.5%. I actually bought it for JP, so I'm glad he dropped in.
Oh, yeah.
It's low alcohol, and it's made only with New Zealand hops.
Paul,
and Australian.
I wouldn't miss your beer.
Oh, cool.
There are some people on staff that would, but I would not do it.
We have a double
Not
IPA
pointing any
coming
fingers.
up. So.
I'm not pointing any fingers.
Why only New Zealand hops?
Well, two reasons.
Why
One
not?
is it's basically that I love them.
And Lord of the Rings was awesome.
I was going to say Harry Potter, but yeah. No, the reason is that right now pro brewers are getting their crops of Australian New Zealand hops. So if you go out and see an Australian New Zealand hop beer now, you know it's going to be really fresh hopped.
Okay.
So it's a great time to make those styles of beer. And we were brewing like crazy with like Nelson. This has Nelson, Machuika, and Pacific Gem in it. And we just got our Galaxy contract, so we're just stoked to just be using those like crazy.
And this is a pale ale.
Yeah, this is a pale ale. It's kind of it's a dry hopped pale ale.
So you're right on. I'm saying you're teetering on the IPA pale ale fence.
Absolutely.
With this beer.
Yeah, this is in the kind of in the realm of Blind Pig or almost a Drake's 1500 kind of a style beer. Definitely a hop forward.
But 5.5%.
Exactly.
That takes it below an IPA.
Slightly lower.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why. So our actual IPA, which is coming, which you guys had 2 or 3 weeks ago, is 8.2%. And
wow.
It's hard to argue that's really an IPA, but we do argue that because we have double and triple IPAs. So
that are what, 10 and 14 or something, or 12 and
the double you're going to try next, and it's 9.2.
Okay.
We just made one that's 10. It's a double IPA, and then we're going to do an 11.2 or 3. And we haven't really talked about that publicly yet, so hopefully no one's listening. But that's coming later.
Nobody listens to this.
Right, I didn't think so.
No.
You know,
sorry, what's going on?
This one does something that's interesting. Usually I'll say that I get a lot of hop character and it's not too bitter, but then the aftertaste turns bitter.
Exactly.
This one, in my opinion, does a little bit of the opposite. It tastes bitter on my palate right when I have it, but the aftertaste is very mellow, and so I like it because it ends up kind of smoothing out and going away, and it doesn't end up tasting like a bitter beer in the end. It's sort of flip-flopped for me.
So there's 2 things that we do that are relevant to that. One is kind of one of our main themes for the brewery, but all of our hoppy beers, we tend to target the lower edge of bitterness and the high edge of flavor and aroma.
Okay.
Because we think that the people who don't like hoppy beers, they really don't like bitterness because they get that at the end.
Sure.
But the other thing that's really relevant for where I live in San Diego is we have very high sulfate, like 300 plus parts per million of sulfate.
Ouch.
And our calcium is like in the 70s.
What would a normal sulfate be if that's high?
Below 90.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get down into single digits in the water in this region in many places.
Yeah, because we got snow melt, so we don't have a lot of stuff. And
Okay.
300 you got to deal with. It's not just, I'll just make some beer.
Okay.
So this last part's probably a plug for Palmer. I got really hooked on the water spreadsheet, and as a home brewer, what I would do is come up with a water recipe for every beer. So like you'd figure out what's the flavor profile that you want to get, what grains get you there. Well, the water recipe is equally as important because of the 7 brewing ions. So you want to target, if you're making a sweet beer, you want to target the ions that promote sweetness in your beer. But the problem is in San Diego with 300 parts per million plus of sulfate, if you're doing a 2-to-1 calcium chloride to sulfate ratio, that's 600 parts per million, and that's a minerally mess.
Okay.
So what we do is, both as a home brewer, what I did, and what we do in the pro brewery is that we have a water system where we can create RO, and we have a way to auto-blend carbon-filtered water with RO water for every batch into we have a blending tank. And then that blending tank becomes the base water for whatever beer we're going to make. So we can make it so that the ions are as close as we can get them to what we want for those 7 ions, and then we can do minimal salts to tweak.
Got it.
And that's helped a lot. And that actually, I think what you just said is exactly how you can tell that.
Oh, yeah.
It's more soft at the finish. Doc, you probably noticed that too.
I think I just finished.
That's
awesome.
With that, the ability to do that with water.
Oh,
you
my
mean?
God, yeah.
Okay.
Because he can do anything he wants. But you have to with 300 parts per million just in the base. If you can guess at diluting.
Yeah.
And that's only going to cut you down so far. But having...
to be able to dial it in like that.
Well, he said something very true. Every beer I do is I have a water recipe for every one. What do I want to do? What my malts are going to get me somewhere. What's my base water?
Yeah.
And
you're 100% RO.
Yeah.
So he has a little more flexibility because of this blend.
Right, but you have to dial in the water recipe is as important as the malt recipe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think the one difference between us is that, and we could talk about this off air, but so 100% RO, if you were to, I'm an engineer, sorry about this, bar graph all the different ions, you're basically like a flat line.
Right.
So you have nothing. So if you're going to use 100% RO and you're going to make, say, a sweet beer, you want to add more ions than just the sweet ions. You want to make sure that the water's not too overly soft.
Yep.
So instead of kind of doing a mix of gypsum and a sweet beer just to kind of give it a little more character, we just cut back our city water with RO to get the level, so we have kind of a bar graph where we're getting all the ions just in lower levels, and then we can add enough chloride to get the ratio we need without it being overpowering and not minerally.
Got it.
And this is not normal thinking in the pro world, but it is in the homebrewing world.
But
That's what I was going to ask, if this was like common for other San Diego breweries to install this type of a system.
We don't know of anyone doing exactly what we're doing.
Okay.
And we spent a lot of money, like that extra 15% on the fermenters.
Yeah.
On water. So we have a very elaborate, big carbon filter, redundant water softener, microbrewerywater.com's water RO system, and then we have batch controllers and all this stuff to kind of auto blend everything. So
do you have a computer program that just you can dial it in what you want and it'll blend?
We actually not quite that advanced, because I want to stay in control. I don't like kind of letting everything. I'm a computer guy. I don't really trust the software too much.
No, I mean you know what you want. You can dial it in, and it'll help do it for you.
We still eyeball it, but we do have these things called batch controllers where we can say we'd like 100 gallons of RO and we'd like 150 gallons of carbon. And then it's got one of those little paddle wheels that are built into the pipes, and it kind of tries to measure the flow of the water going in.
Yep.
I still don't trust it that much, so we eyeball it. We have a sight glass, so we eyeball too.
Well, he wastes a lot less water that way. RO's real wasteful on water, and if he can blend with, the city water, he'll waste a lot less water that way.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, the way this beer finishes, I like that it allows me to pretend to be a hophead again. Because the bitter, it doesn't finish all bitter, and then I go, I get it. I taste all that, and I'm not as opposed as some others about IPAs. I like them too, but this is one where I can get that nice bitter flavor, but since it goes away in the finish rather than increase, I can pretend to be a hophead again. Thank you, Paul.
Well, and it lets you enjoy sip after sip. You don't get palate fatigue. You're not going to get worn out drinking this beer.
It doesn't feel like it's accumulating with every... Yeah,
absolutely. And you can drink a lot of it because it's not 8 million% like IPAs are. So,
what do you say the IBUs are on this?
It's probably around 40. So it's not super high, but
it's just a lot of perceived IBU when it's actually on the palate.
It's a good flavor.
The sulfates will pop that, and the water profile can push that, so you don't have to use as many hops. It's perceived.
And there's the other thing that, and maybe this isn't true for most people, but for just the people we see at the tasting room, we get a lot of people that say, I hate hoppy beers. I don't even want to try them. We say, well, just try this a little bit while we pour you your other ones. And what they basically, I think they kind of equate, if I can taste hops, then I know it must be really bitter. So when they go to try it, they think, this is going to be really bitter, and then they're surprised. It's really not. And I think it's, like we talked about, the softer water and the sulfate levels being under control. And
well, with all the talking that we do about hops and IPAs being trendy and the thing and so easy to do, I think the reality still remains that a very skilled brewer and a very a talented brewer can make an awesome IPA that even JP will mention. You know what? This is well done. You did a good job with this, and there's something unique about it. And this is one of those that I guess what I'm saying is I hate for us to sound like we're always just dismissing all IPAs. That's not the case. But a skilled brewer can really still do wonderful things with it, and make it taste unique like this one.
Absolutely. I mean, you can not like something but still appreciate how well it's done.
Well, there's definitely a market. People that they want more hops. They want the big hoppy forward thing, and hops.
They'll take anything.
But hops and bitterness, like you were saying, there's different kind of connotations on that one.
Yeah.
When I get this thing, it lays on my tongue. It's just hop bitterness.
Right.
It's just. But on the other hand, I get ones that are just very flavorful.
Yeah.
Really hop flavor, but not having that palate killing kind of thing. I'll finish a whole one, and I'm not going to order two because that's just not me. But there's some that I just can't even finish.
Yeah.
Just no way. But this is very well balanced with that. It's more flavorful rather than just this bitter hop bomb. And at 40 IBUs, it tastes more than 40 IBUs. Mm-hmm. And that's from the water profile.
Although, Paul, we've had two vertical epics between us, so your beer could be shit. We don't know.
Hey, I had them too.
Great. No, this is good stuff. All right, let's do this. We'll talk a little more with Paul when we come back. I got to take one more break. We got to do a little bit of feedback when we come back as well.
Feedback.
We'll find out more about Rip Current. Are you guys going to... I know you did a couple events up here this weekend. That's why you're here, but are you distributing up here? Or?
No, I've been answering that question all weekend long. At this point, we haven't made any decisions on that. But I have a lot of friends, relatives, people like you guys that we really wanted to get the beers up here. And we had 2 great locations say, hey, we'd love to help you with that. And so we just got lucky.
I do hope you decide to send us your beer. It's good stuff. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be back more with Paul, plus feedback and your Twitter game. And I think I had one other thing to do, too. Hang in there. I'm teasing the one other thing. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Williams Brewing announces their first customer recipe issue since 1991. This free 64-page catalog includes 27 of the best home brewing recipes submitted by their regular customers. Best of all, this paper-only catalog is free for the asking. Just go to williamsbrewing.com and click on the free customer recipe issue link. This offer expires October 18th. While you are on the site, check out some of the latest exclusives like the Williams Oatmeal Stout Malt Extract, the Big Oxygen System, and they even have their own line of precision hydrometers. Go to williamsbrewing.com to browse their vast selection and enjoy their famous customer service. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy the Williams way. You know, the Brewing Network's very own Code Writin' Fool's son, Ryan Wolf, has opened a beer mecca in Missouri. The Wolf Brow House of Beer has hundreds of beers from all over the world and is conveniently close to I-70 in St. Peters. Free tastings Saturdays 4 to 6 p.m. featuring special guests from local breweries. The best build-your-own six-pack around with every style represented. And kegged craft beer available for your kegerator, too. There's always something new at the Wolf Brow House of Beer. New and hard-to-find beer every week. No 2 visits are the same, just like passing out at the Rat Pad.
Hi, this is Ryan from Wolfbrow House of Beer. Mention the Brewing Network when you stop in for some cool free stuff. Mention JP for a swift kick in the ass.
The Wolfbrow House of Beer. Beer with personal service from a member of the BN Army.
This is Code. Visit my son's shop or I'll yank the BN website down.
www.wolfbrow.com. Here's a bite for beer lovers. Soft caramel made with real craft brew and coated in chocolate. And Hop Drops, hard candies made with real hop oil. Introducing Beer Candy from beercandy.com. Beer Candy's amazing caramels come in 4 mouth-watering flavors. IPA, bitter gold, wrapped in smooth white chocolate. Lager, made with a familiar beer from Boston and coated in milk chocolate. Lambic, soury Belgian goodness full of fresh raspberry and dipped in dark chocolate. And Stout, roasty cocoa chocolate insanity. Hop Drops are made with Fuggles or Cascade hops and are known as the candy that bites you back. Choose from sampler and full sizes of both and make your mouth jump to life. All at beercandy.com. Hop Drops and beer caramels. Satisfy your sweet tooth as only a beer lover could with Beer Candy. Visit beercandy.com today.
What'd you get? More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh, the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
The Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
Oh, the wine-making supplies. Oh, the distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot. And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today because it's totally hot.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Wooly, I'm beat. Can we find a nice tree to just hang out in for a while?
You're beat. I've been swinging through this forest for 50 years, ever since we first escaped from the circus. I know, but there's got to be more to life than exploring this creek and trying to populate the valley by copulating with loose, hairy girls. Marquis, stop. Look.
What is that?
It looks like a man-made treehouse.
With fresh food.
And craft beer.
Welcome to the Creek Monkey Tap House, boys. Grab a seat. Creek Monkeys drink free.
Awesome!
The Creek Monkey Tap House in Martinez, California takes their mission of fresh food and beer seriously. They only serve locally raised beef and chicken, as well as local sustainable produce. It's better for you and the planet, and it just tastes better. The beer and wine at Creek Monkey Tap House are chosen with the same care for the highest quality and rotate frequently to make each visit an adventure. Swing on into the Creek Monkey Tap House and enjoy a new legend of amazing food, beer, and wine. The Creek Monkey Tap House, online at creekmonkey.com.
Wait till you can pour it out of your own kegerator.
I mean, your friends will look at you with awe.
And it's just hot.
It is?
It's so super hot.
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer,
Radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The Session.
Dear Bevo, let your hair hang low. My Bevo, let your hair hang low. I'll bring you more gold than those teacups can hold. My Bevo, let your hair hang low. My Bevo, your big boobies I long to see. Dear Bevo, your big boobies I long to see. Delicious and round, hang on while I pound your big boobies, my mind I see. My Bevo, I dream of your hair down there. Lovely Bevo, do you have hair down there? When I'm whacking my wang, it won't do a thing till I'm dreaming of your hair down there.
you're listening to the Brewing Network. Because like beer,
Radio shouldn't suck.
All right, a few things left to do. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I want to thank Tom Kehoe once again from Yards Brewing Company in Philadelphia, PA. Also, we still have Paul Sangster hanging in the studio from Rip Current Brewery. We've been increasing the alcohol in our beers throughout the show, and I think he's about to pour us a Russian Imperial Stout to continue with that trend.
A little 11.21.
We go over the edge here.
I just fell on the way up the stairs.
Yeah.
I'm adding
so
up.
wasted.
It was funny.
I dumped out Roberto's amazing La Folie clone on my trip. Luckily, he brought a keg of it, so I just refilled it again. And Roberto, this is the best sour beer you've ever given me. This is a fantastic La Folie clone.
Actually, I'll take a little bit more, Paul.
The aroma is exactly like La Folie.
It's not an IPA.
And the flavor is not too damn far off either. So, good stuff. All right, a few things left to do. We're getting the Russian Imperial Stout poured. I did feel the need to mention that I spent the weekend, or yesterday anyway, teaching Vinny Cilurzo from Russian River Brewing Company how to homebrew. Do you believe
Really?
that?
Wait, what?
Yeah. The whole day. I spent the whole day teaching him how to homebrew. Guy was a mess. He hardly knows what the hell he's doing.
You should work on your jokes. It was flat.
I know. It's not a joke.
We'll take a course. Don't worry.
I mean, I'm starting to think that it's Jen Talley, his new brewer, or somebody, maybe some of his other brewer. Maybe it's Natalie.
He's like, I'm done.
I don't think Vinny knows shit.
What does he do? He pushes the pencil around, waves, shakes hands, and kisses babies.
He just keeps adding hops, lets it go sour or something. I don't know.
Something. Right? The guy could hardly transfer wort from one vessel to the other.
Jamil's going the same way.
Because there was no $1 million pump in between.
Yeah, I guess so. I had to hold his hand all the way through it.
Paul, you're seeing your future in front of you.
Now, you guys were picking on my hero. I'm having a hard time.
I know. I'm having a hard time making fun of him, too, but this is great.
Well, we did this great project yesterday with Jay Brooks, and Jay Brooks had promised his son years ago that when he turns 12, he'll homebrew with him. So he's now about to turn 12, and what Jay did was he bought a more beer sculpture. Is it the 1500 that's the flat system now?
That's
the
correct,
1500 flat system. And got the ultimate conical fermenter, did the whole thing. And then because Jay, who's a beer writer, if you don't know him, he is a local beer writer to us. He started with Celebrator Beer News, and now he writes for the San Francisco Chronicle and the Mercury News, plus there's the Brookston Beer Bulletin, and he's a very well published beer writer. So, and he knows all these guys too. So what he thought, not only am I going to buy this great homebrew system and teach my kid to homebrew, I'm going to invite Vinny Chilurzo from Russian River and Rich Norgrove, who's the brewer and founder at Bear Republic Brewing Company. And of course, me.
They got you too.
Justin Crossley.
I bet you were a holdout
from the Brewing Network.
You were a holdout.
Well, they knew I was out of town.
I'm sure they had several cancellations.
They had to get a hold of his agent first. Took a while.
No, actually, they invited me because he approached me with the idea, do you want to make a video of this? And I thought it was a great idea because here's a family who's not ashamed of beer being as part of their family and brewing. And
his kid's name is Porter.
His kid's name's Porter.
Jay doesn't give a shit.
So I said, yeah, absolutely. So I brought a video crew up there, and Vinny was kind of the ringleader, and he created a recipe called Porter's Porter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thought of that himself?
Created a porter for him. And basically was teaching the kid to brew all day. But
he wasn't.
As he got to certain parts in the brew day, the equipment was a little different than Vinny has. Vinny has a more beer system as his pilot batch system, his test batch system as well. But he only has a normal conical, not an ultimate conical, which has all these little fancy things, which I thought are all part of a pro brewery anyway. I thought they just kind of adapted them, but apparently not. So at several points throughout the brew day, Vinny, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And who does? Who knows how to run this stuff? Me. That's right.
Well, it's like 6 degrees of separation. Like, who closely relates to the person who may possibly know the things that the right person to ask to how to run the stuff?
Or who can best relate to a 12-year-old?
Actually, there definitely was some of that. There was basically that and me on the phone with Chris Graham in the other room every time Vinny had a question.
There you go.
So I guess I'm exaggerating a little when I say I taught Vinny how to homebrew.
He knew you'd have Chris Graham on speed dial and stuff.
Yeah. You just had a little earpiece in your little comm like 24.
Yeah.
I'll be on comm right now, Chloe!
An earbug.
All you would have to say is the last porter I made was straight into the carpet. I don't know how to make a porter.
That's true, yeah. Well, there was one moment. It was actually a lot of fun, and it was cool to see these guys homebrewing. And they were, let me tell you this, homebrewers at home, they were very casual about a lot of it. In terms of, hey, when you're measuring out the hops, just make sure you err on the side of more than less.
We stress out too much, don't we?
Yes, we stress out so much more. The volume ended up many gallons less than we thought it was going to be.
Well,
and I didn't plan it. No, that was all.
It's Porter's Imperial Porter.
Oh, I do have one epic fuck up that I did feel like a big dope. I was trying to help, and I'll get back to that.
Where'd you touch him?
But all throughout the day, they just both Rich from Bear Republic and Vinny, they're just like, fuck it, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. They're much more relaxed than I expected them to be.
We do freak out about it because we also think that the equations work and that we actually know what our efficiency is for hops and that everything matters, and it doesn't.
There's definitely a bunch of that. Yeah, they're like, look, it's going to kind of be like this and it's going to kind of be like that, and just go for it and it'll be fine. and it is going to be fine in the end. So there were just a few things like that. It was a lot of fun to hang out with them and seeing them interact that way. I did try to help because Jay didn't know how to use his system yet. So I was trying to help prep the volumes of water.
Oh, God.
For Vinny, so that when he got there, I was trying to shorten the brew day, right? Like, let's get the water going. And so, in my defense, I was told exactly how much water to put in the hot liquor tank and exactly how much water to put into the mash tun. It was 5 gallons into the mash tun for strike water, right? And it was 11 gallons into the hot liquor tank for this particular recipe.
All right. How many gallons in total?
Maybe a 10-gallon batch.
10? Yeah, okay. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Please continue.
And they miscalculated on a bunch of that stuff in the end. But that's neither here nor there.
They're dicks.
Here was where it was kind of stupid. So I did that. I put those volumes of water into each vessel. And then I started heating them up. And for some reason, the mash tun temperature gauge just kept bouncing all over the place. Like one moment it's 200, and the next moment it's 85, and the next moment it's this and it's that, and here I'm trying to help. I'm thinking, Vinny's going to show up and he's going to go, Justin, thank you so much for getting that water started, and what a great job you did, because now we can just get to. I felt like I was going to be his assistant. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. Yeah.
So he gets there, and the temperature's all low, and I keep turning the burner on, and he keeps turning the burner off, and this goes on for like an hour, and finally he looks in there, and the water's not touching either of the temperature probes. There's not enough water in the fucking kettle, so it's steam.
You're measuring steam from time to time,
right? And Vinny, being the gentleman that he is, never says it to me directly, never looks me in the eye and is like, man, you're a fucking moron.
Right.
He just sort of lets it go and adds more water. He says in passing at one moment, yeah, probably would have helped if the water was touching the thermometer probes. But I just did what he said. I just didn't. Well, I didn't look.
But
the thing.
It's not that he measured incorrectly. It's he doesn't realize that as a home brewer, we have much more head space in between the bottom of the kettle and the
we don't
screen.
In theory, it's 5 gallons per this amount of grain, but there's a lot of
that
stuff,
dead space.
Dead space under that.
You got another 2 gallons probably at least.
Especially on those. And the part where it's not touching the thermometer. That's important.
One, and that's the thing. Even though he told me the measurement, I still felt like an asshole because I can't look inside and see that it's not touching the thermometer.
Well, but that's also what you should have said. You should have said, once he said 5 gallons, you should have been like, from the false bottom? Because they're wedge wires, and it's a much more efficient but closer to the bottom of the mash tun, right?
Yeah. Hey, I'm only a phone call away.
Yeah.
Could have solved that all. Right there.
Look, at that, I didn't know. At that point, it's too late. He's just grabbing a bucket and adding water, and I'm the asshole. So even though
you started that way,
I felt like I started as the assistant.
You're like, oh yes, Mr. Toulouser, I'll do it right now.
Right.
When he's like not even there yet.
Actually, I'll be there shortly. You started out thinking that Vinny's going to be your assistant.
I was like,
I'm going to get it all ready. I'm going to get it all ready. You're going to bring him in.
Oh yeah, I'm going to show this bitch what to do.
Exactly.
Here's another thing. Here's some information. We used.
Thank you.
We used Star San.
I bet you did.
As the sanitizer for the conical, which I swear by. I'm all about 5-star products.
There you go.
But of course, in professional brewing, they don't use a foaming product like that as a sanitizer.
Yeah.
But that's what we used because that's what I like, and that's what Jay got. Well, so we sanitized the conical, and Vinny looks inside, and we had drained the conical, and he sees all the foam and the suds.
Yeah.
And he asked me, because who else are you going to ask?
Well, the guy that takes a bath every day about soap
and he goes, what do you think about these suds in there?
Normal?
There's an awful lot of suds in there, don't you think? And I said, well, the chemists at 5-Star swear up and down, and the last time we talked about this was years ago when Charlie Talley was actually on the show. He said those suds are fine, and by the way, they're sanitizing as well, and they'll be fine for your beer. But I happen to know another professional brewer in our region who's mentioned to me, I don't want those suds in my beer.
Yeah.
If it were my beer, I'd get rid of those suds. And I'm just giving you this as anecdotal info. Homebrewers, you can do what you like. Vinny ended up going, well, I'll tell you what, I agree with that brewer. There's something about those suds. I don't know what. He wasn't speaking from science. He just had a feeling, I don't want to see my beer touch those. So he rinsed out the suds with water. And of course, I said to him, my impression of what you're doing right now is adding water that's not been sanitized to a sanitized sanitized vessel. And his response was, you're not a fucking pro brewer. Shut up.
Good point.
His second response was, I don't know. I'm adding, yes, maybe it's unsanitized water, but I'm adding it to a sanitized vessel, and there's sanitizer everywhere, so maybe it's going to sanitize the water as I'm rinsing it.
It sounds like you can just kind of logic your way out of any situation.
I'm not.
Not you.
Oh, I see.
People like as a brewer or in that kind of informational area where sometimes you have too much information where it's almost dangerous.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's a sanitized environment, even though it's unsanitary items I'm putting onto the sanitized environment. But directly, you're just saying that you admittedly unsanitized the environmental area.
I think I understand what you're saying, and I agree with it.
Thank you.
And
you're going to confuse the fuck out of my homebrewers.
Vinny has made so much good beer. He's like, well, we're just going to trust instinct. We're going to do it. He's also thinking,
it's
Justin's never going to mention this on air, so we're just going to do whatever we want.
Right. Well, and it is instinct because that's not the product that he uses in his brew house. I'm just putting this out there because I know there's a lot of homebrewers who like to think about this stuff. They like to think about, God, do I keep the foam? Do I not keep the foam? I'm still keeping the foam.
Foam's fine.
I feel like the foam is this thing that it's magically keeping everything sanitized for as long as possible, and then it goes away when I put beer in.
Yeah.
But who am I? I'm an idiot, and I'm telling you that two prominent professional brewers in our region, and not by any science, just by instinct, they don't use the foam.
Or how about closing off the entire conical, everything else except for the dump valve on the bottom, and let that sit for a while and let that all kind of
That's what they did.
Let that all kind of drip out.
But as he was watching the foam drip out, that's actually where he was like,
oh, I see.
I really want to know how much foam is still inside. So he opened the port on the top, and it was kind of up high. We couldn't see, so he took a photo with his phone, and he wasn't happy with the results, so he rinsed it out. Now, he wasn't saying don't use Star Sand.
Right, of course.
He was just saying don't use... He said, I just want to rinse out the foam.
Well, and if you're afraid of the foam, Star Sand have a non-foam...
that's true.
A non-foam thing called Sandy Clean.
Yeah.
It's just same thing without the foam.
Exactly.
Darker in color.
Or just make sure you always add chemical to water, not water to chemical.
And
okay.
That helps a lot, too.
Sandy Clean, you have to use twice as much.
It's a twice as long contact. I don't know about the measurement
it's about twice as much, too. And
that's why you don't get foam.
But with him rinsing it out, as long as he doesn't over rinse, he's probably fine because he's still using the bubbles which are cleaning everything.
They're still kind of going down.
Yeah, still rinse it.
He rinsed very little. He's sprayed
the bubbles are a soap.
Yeah,
and the soap helps.
Stuff is at like pH 2 or something lower.
But the soap part actually pulls all the grime off and helps infiltrate all the nasty grimy parts you didn't actually clean.
Okay.
And to help get the acid into it, which is what kills everything. So if he gets most of it out of there, without over rinsing, and he gets it all out of there, once you get the beer in there, the beer's going to be in the 4.2, 4.4 range, and all the bad bacteria are not going to survive that anyway.
Right. Well, on top of that, he's Vinny goddamn Chilurzo. The beer's going to come out fantastic. No matter what I tried to do to fuck it up, it's going to come out fine.
Yeah, if I'm standing there with Vinny and he says, you're not a fucking brewer, I'd say, yeah, fair enough. Do whatever you want.
That's all I can say.
I'm a home brewer,
I would say that too.
asshole.
So in spite of you, it will be fine.
I still think you can fuck it up.
What about the yeast? Did someone bring a commercial pitch?
Pitch straight from Russian River Brewing Company.
Oh, yeah, well, that's probably why he's like... Get the fuck out of here. Whatever.
And actually, we did joke about that afterward, too, because we ended up with less volume than we wanted. And again, it's not calculating boil off, not calculating that mash tun dead space and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so he brought a pitch for much more volume, but we also we couldn't get it chilled down. It was 105 degrees or something in Kotati yesterday or wherever we were. And so we couldn't get it chilled down quite enough. We didn't, I told them, I've instructed them to do the pre-chill and everything. They didn't have ice. So I was schooling these guys, Doc. And but we didn't have those things, so
I will never brew with them.
It was also going to have to wait a couple of 2-3 hours before they were going to pitch, and so Vin was like, "Pitch that whole fucking thing. Just throw that whole thing in there, and it's just gonna rip through it."
Oh yeah.
And we were kind of joking because the new More Beer Conicals have a giant blow-off tube. It's the size of almost a commercial
thing is ridiculous.
Conical, and so even. We were all laughing that, look, it can take it. If this was an airlock or some tiny tube,
no, it'd be bad.
Do not throw that whole pitch of yeast in there. Right. It's going to be gnarly.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you guys didn't have quite the volume because you couldn't have thrown that whole pitch in there.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a hell of a fun day, and I can forever say I spent the day teaching Vinny how to homebrew.
And you probably learned something in the process.
No.
Better.
I doubt it.
I learned something today.
All right, this beer is better than your last beer, Paul. The Russian Imperial Stout is fantastic. And the last beer was great.
Glad you like it.
Tell us about this one.
So this is the biggest beer we make. It's 11.2%. And it's actually an oatmeal Russian Imperial Stout. You can kind of tell it has a big, heavy body. We wanted to make a really big, rich, complex beer. It has a lot of special ingredients to kind of provide some of the complexity. Some of them I'm not sure you'll actually be able to taste.
Okay.
So there's actually honey in this. I don't think you'll probably perceive that. There's brown sugar, which arguably you might get a little bit. But the big thing that you're probably tasting is we use molasses.
Yep.
And that gives it that nice, rich, dark fruit, dark bready flavor.
Which kind of molasses is?
As a home brewer, I always use Blackstrap, but it's really hard to source it in bulk.
That's what I was trying to get at. Blackstrap is the thickest, nastiest
that's what you
molasses
want. Where do you get that? Do you have to order it, or that?
Well, as a home brewer, I actually bought mine on Amazon.com as a home brewer.
Okay.
Now, I couldn't source enough of it to use for this, so this was just it's just more of a standard molasses, and it's giving me similar flavors, but as Doc said, kind of the bigger, the nastier, when you're pouring it in, it should look horrible.
Oh,
that's what you want.
Really?
Yeah.
Blackstrap is usually the leftovers of when they're processing sugar, and it's just that.
Why is that what you want?
Because it's the crude oil of molasses.
Exactly.
So much complexity.
Oh,
yes.
Because the yeast are going to ferment out a lot of this stuff. So I should mention that the molasses goes in during fermentation. I don't boil it because I think that changes the flavor.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when you're adding it in, I tend to add it right after high krausen. So the yeast have kind of processed all the maltose and the simple stuff, and they're starting to cool off. And I add in the molasses, and they'll kind of rip through the simple sugar part of the molasses, which there's quite a bit of it. And they ultimately will peter out before they can get to the really nasty long-chain sugars. And that's all the flavors I really wanted.
Doesn't it just sink straight to the bottom of the conical? Do you end up with a pile of sludge at the end?
We do get a lot of that. That's why you probably put more molasses in than you actually need.
Okay.
Because not all of it, if it's piling up on the trub pile, like if you have a conical, which is what I've been brewing with, it kind of piles up at the bottom, and whatever's on the top surface will get eaten away by the yeast, but at some point you'll have stuff below that won't. So you want to put in, this is probably the bottom line for home brewing, is just keep brewing over and over and learn what works for your system.
Okay.
That's what I learned, was you need more and more molasses just to get these bumps in flavor.
Got it.
Even when you pour that stuff in sometimes, if you're pouring it into a fermenter directly, the yeast will find it and get it into suspension.
I mean, because it's a ton of sugar, but I still thought maybe just the sheer thickness of it would...
Molasses is a little different, but I've taken D2 and poured it directly into a carboy, and it makes this thin layer on the bottom of dark sugar. You look at 4 hours later, it's all in suspension.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The yeast have found it, send it.
Well, some of
The
the
yeast will always figure it out.
Some
Yeah,
yeast
exactly.
have flocculated too, and so they're actually towards the bottom when you pour on top of them.
Oh, I see.
So if that wakes
Exactly.
them up, because there's simple sugars again,
That's a good point.
and they're going to stir it all up.
You're like pouring it into their living room with
Basically,
them all
that's
sitting right there.
Yeah, they have their glasses empty, sitting there waiting, and just filling it up for them.
Right.
Sweet.
It's like me at Doc's house.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. Thirsty.
So the brown sugar and honey also added late, or is that in the kettle?
Very late. Those
Very
go
late.
at the very, very end after the yeast are just dead exhausted, and you want to just give them really something very simple to process.
You can see it kick back up
Yeah.
again.
That's
it's
right.
amazing. You think it's like blip, 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 and then you kick it in there, and it just cranks it half a day.
Yeah.
It cranks it back up again. Your airlock really starts going again.
Just like a yeast Bloody Mary when you do the brown sugar. Because they're all fucking hungover and done. And
Oh yeah, it's like I can't party anymore.
Here's some
And
dude-
then-
here's
and you
some-
know what? You give them something they want.
and they're ready to go again. Got it.
You can pump them up for a couple more hours. Keep your friends going.
Yeast are bad college roommates.
They are.
No,
they're dirty. They're just throwing
They
shit
come in, they
everywhere.
have sex. They shit all over your house. They make a mess.
Yeah.
And you know what? You got always have to clean up after them.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you give them a little bit of time. They come back. They're remorseful. They try to.
But you know what?
And they're great friends in the end. You love being
They're
around
great
them.
friends in the end.
You always always
return.
invite them back to the next party.
Yeah. And then they do the same bullshit again.
Yeah.
So, as your strongest beer, Paul, is this a different yeast strain than you would normally use in the brewery, or one of your standards?
So a lot of this parallels what the home brewers are doing, right? So it's the same. It's actually 002 yeast. We didn't do anything special.
002?
However,
Wow.
it's not generation 1.
Right.
So we'll brew. This is usually generation 3 or 4, which are some of your most vibrant yeast.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we build them up with some smaller beers, and then we hit them with the hard stuff.
So 02 is one of the go-tos in the brew house, but not the only strain you use.
No, it's not the only one, but it is one of the. And the other thing is that we can only make this beer in smaller batches because we max our mash tun out very quickly. We can fit about 1,400 pounds of grain in, and that's about, of this beer, 11, 12 barrels.
No, my back
Right.
hurts just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Of course, I
man.
don't have to do that. That's what,
that's
what automation's for. We have it's augured and all that.
Hops are kind of in the background on a beer like this in a way. I mean, with all the other complexity, hops are part of the profile for
That's
sure.
right.
But are you relying on American hops or going somewhere else?
No, this is all traditional ingredients except for the weird stuff we already talked about. So it's 002, it's Maris Otter, so all the crystal malts are British crystal malts.
Now, the Maris Otter really shines through on this one. It's just that round maltiness. It's something you can't get with anything else.
Like slight toast, slight biscuit, but not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's dark.
It's very dark.
You're racist.
Tastes like beer.
I have a question that I could probably relate to this conversation because it is about adding sugar into the fermenter that came through from the chat.
What's the cosine of the sugar?
Someone wrote in, I was wondering how to calculate my ABV when adding table sugar to the fermenter, which would be the same as adding any other sugar to a fermenter like you did, Paul. So he doesn't know how to calculate his ABV. He asked at the end of it, how does it affect my original gravity? But maybe the question should be, how does it affect my final gravity? But
how early is he adding the sugar?
he's not saying, but he said he's just adding it to the fermenter is all we have here. If you're still in the chat room, it's Beaten Husband, and you could follow up with where you're adding it. My first thought is that you could do this in a calculator like in Beersmith, right?
Yeah. That's what I do.
You just punch it in there.
I've been using Beersmith my entire homebrewing and professional.
Oh, okay.
So I use it. I'm a very active user of it. And the great thing about it is when you build your recipe, it'll show you exactly what it's contributing. And then on brew day, of course, I don't add the sugar on brew day. I add it to the fermenter later. So all you do is you go into the recipe and you delete the sugar out, and you just watch how much the OG changes, and that's how much the sugar is contributing.
Really? You can use simple adding it back.
Simple.
Right, yeah, you delete it out, so at least you know when you're on brew day, you hit your numbers.
Okay.
And
wait, so let me just walk through this for my... Because if I can understand it, then I think anyone in the world can understand it. So on brew day, you do your recipe, and let's say I have 5 pounds of sugar in my recipe, and it tells me what my OG is, and I can go ahead and write that down.
Let's say it was 1050 in your spreadsheet.
Okay,
Yep.
so I write that down. Then I just delete it. And of course, the program, Beersmith, is going to reduce my OG down to some other number below 1050.
1043 or whatever it is.
But I know that even it doesn't matter where I add that sugar into the process, it's going to bring the whole thing back up to 1050. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
That's it.
Table sugar, corn sugar, honey, pretty much.
Is there a difference between table sugar or corn sugar?
Not really.
No.
But
honey is different.
It's all fermentable. Honey's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it would calculate that in my original recipe of Beersmith too. So it's still the same process.
If you know it's going in the beer, put it in the recipe to begin with.
Okay.
Whether it goes in later or on brew day.
Got it.
And originally, with all the ingredients in there, it'll tell you your ABV.
Perfect.
But you need to know without the sugar, because on brew day, you're only going to have X amount of OG. So you need to hit your number. Say it's 1054 or 10. I'm going to brew in a big beer. I want to be 1067 when I'm done. But at brew day, without the sugar, it's going to be 1052, 1053. You cut it out in Beersmith. You just cut it out, and it'll tell you what you're supposed to hit that day.
I get it.
So when you hit that day, it's good. But you know when you put in that 5 pounds of whatever,
it's going to bring it right back to where Beersmith said it would be.
And I know that my ABV is going to be where I want.
And your bitterness is dialed in for that. All these things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
Interesting.
All right, let's do this. I got to get through some feedback. And,
Please.
I'm glad I didn't miss feedback.
I'm glad I didn't miss feedback.
A couple of other things. Who's doing feedback today? Some wonderful sponsor, I'm sure.
Adventures in Homebrewing.
Oh, yeah. Feedback's brought to you by Adventures in Homebrewing.
Nice.
In fact, to get to Adventures in Homebrewing, it's easy. Just go to homebrewing.org. Check them out. They're a good sponsor of ours. They've been with us for a little while now. And great website, great site to get all your brewing needs. Adventures in Homebrewing. They're good people. Good recipes. Actually, I'm looking at their site now, and they got a ton of different recipe kits on there that look fantastic. Adventures in Homebrewing, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God!
You've got mail.
Kick ass.
Your Twitter game's doing well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it the best one ever?
It's not the best one ever. Let's not jump too far ahead of your.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to you. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it, but I don't want to do it.
I think it's pretty damn good, probably.
The boys at Flattail are apparently drunk and tweeting, and they confused Doc with Tasty. So they wrote a funny thing for Doc, and then Spider Wrangler's like, it's about Doc, it's about Tasty, not Doc. He's like, Doc, Tasty, same thing. It's pretty good.
Yeah. One's short, one's fat. What's the difference?
Actually, what did he
backstage, different things would happen.
That's probably true. All right. Justin, talent hack.
Old school.
How did that happen? How did this happen?
Yeah. Mitch writes in, I just wanted to drop a big thanks to the BN. Results were posted for the Michigan Beer Cup, which is my second competition. I've been brewing now for 2 years off and on due to life getting in the way, but the BN has remained a staple. I got an honorable mention in stout with a dry stout I've been working on, and when they don't speak proper English, I get confused.
That's what JP's supposed to work on that.
And am in my third version. There we go.
Okay.
Hey,
it's hard to read.
You write it. I just copy and paste it.
I've been working on and am in my third version. A third place in English Pale Ale and a first place in Dark Lager.
Yes.
All right. Good job, man. Thank you so much for all the entertainment and information you provide. Suck it, JP, from Mitch.
I don't think I want to.
Yeah.
No. Really?
Yeah.
You're coming off a Disneyland high.
I'll suck anything right now.
Oh, this one's interesting.
I'll bet. It's all highlighted in yellow. Everything's highlighted.
That means everything is important.
Good. Oh, whoa. Ow. What was that?
Nice. Sorry. Well, you mentioned Disneyland, and I got excited. So.
You finished.
You can't take JP anywhere.
I'm not cleaning that.
Oh, you only Disneyland.
John writes in, Brewing Militia Masters. I've wrestled with the idea of supporting the BN with monthly donations for some time now. I've always been happy to just use your Amazon link and buy occasional merch from your store. And by the way, that is a perfectly acceptable way to support the Brewing Network. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
However, upon recently listening to the Brendan Moylan episode, I've had to abandon my principles. The interview was probably one of the best ones I've heard yet.
That one's good.
On the subject of the professional brewing community. I was perfectly content to become a private first class in the BN Army. That is until the random homeless guy walked into the studio and the insanity ensued.
That just kicked it up another level.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then what, did you give us more so we can move out of this dump?
Right. By the way, homeless guy could not have picked a better show to walk in on than the Brendan Moylan show.
I thought for sure it was staged.
At that point, I realized that you disorganized bastards needed all the help you could get, and I upgraded to sergeant.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure I'll hear about this expenditure someday if my wife ever finds out. But I take pride in knowing that I'm a member of a great group of degenerates with hard-ons, or in Bevo's case, wet-ons.
Ew.
You have wet-ons.
I've never.
Nasty.
I don't think I've ever heard of a wet-on.
No, well, neither is Bevo.
Do you
have?
I'm going to try to use it. Do you think anyone will find it hot if you go, hey, do you have a wet-on? Especially if you say it like
I
that.
hope you get maced.
That's a good pickup line.
Especially if you do it just like that. Hey.
As you're cracking the Cialis that's in your jaw.
Oh, baby.
Hidden in your tooth
bastard.
like some Soviet spy from the 50s.
I'll try that on tour, let you guys know how it goes.
Yeah, try it.
Well, and then they go,
Gotta
no.
pull out all the stops.
Yeah, then they go, no, and you hug them, and you go, now you do.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I give you permission to pull out all the stops. It's your last tour, Nate.
I know, I got to try. I'll let you know.
It's your last tour?
Well, it might be.
Look at him. He's 100 years old. He's creeping up on Tasty.
If
basically, I need to study under Tasty for like a month. Be like, how am I going to do the next 20 years, Tasty? I'm running out of steam.
It's all about the side boob.
Just have no morals, and you're fine.
What is with guys in the side boob thing?
He's not even here to defend himself.
Because we'll take any boob, and
easier
side's
that
the
way.
least offensive.
And Nate,
That's what it is.
It's all about target acquisition.
Thank you, Doc.
Stay
I'm not
on
going to
target.
forget that.
Stay on target.
Nate,
Don't listen to us.
stop listening to them.
She's right.
I might like you the most, but if you continue to take their advice, you're going to go downhill fast.
It'll keep me safe.
So Nate can no longer listen to the Brewing Network?
No.
Right. We have to take his headphones off when he's not speaking. All right, let's see. TBN Third Coast writes in, hey, my girlfriend and I recently made the trip to Moonlight Meadery. Michael Fairbrother and the staff made us feel welcome, and it was definitely a class act. The Meads, the freaking Meads, man. They're absolutely wonderful. Everyone and anyone who tries these meads will realize they're the best you can get from anywhere. I agree.
Best meads I've had.
I have never had better meads than the meads that guy sends us. They are incredible. Okay, here's a really interesting one. And in fact, it's going to prompt me to do a live read. Sean writes in, hi, guys. As a novice homebrewer, I've listened to a number of your Brew Strong podcasts, and I appreciate all the great information you cover. But I'm unsubscribing, and I thought I should tell you why. Every one of the last several episodes I've listened to has included advertisements for AdamandEve.com, an adult store. When I first heard the description, I wasn't sure if it was a joke. Are you really advertising pornography on your podcast? While I feel sex is a normal and healthy part of married relationships, the pornographic material this store sells demeans women and misleads men.
Woohoo!
It does mislead men. I'll give them that. I mean, no one's ever getting that.
They ain't getting none.
Because we ain't getting that kind of pussy. It's just not going to happen.
Jade is all for demeaning women and misleading men.
It, baby. I'm all over it.
I understand the stereotype of the beer-drinking man who watches porn. Is that what we're playing?
It's the stereotype of the man.
It's the stereotype of humans like to watch people fucking.
Yeah.
That's what happens. I digress.
No, he didn't say that.
Yeah.
I understand the stereotype of the beer-drinking man who watches porn, but not only is porn an evil that undermines healthy relationships, it has nothing whatsoever to do with brewing beer. I hope you'll reconsider your sponsorships and ditch this one. But until then, I don't want to be part of subsidizing something that is so detrimental to our society. A disappointed ex-listener, Sean.
Dear Sean.
Dear Sean, I will send you the exact number that you could donate each month that would make me drop AdamandEve.com.
Absolutely.
I don't think you can afford it.
No.
That's number one.
Well, and that they let us do whatever we want as long as we mention Adam and Eve. So we make it fun.
Number two, officially, as of this moment, and I'm going on record as saying it, I'm going to double my porn viewing to make up for what Sean is not watching.
You're
no, Dustin.
I don't know if there's
worry,
enough time in the
I'm
day.
willing to sacrifice that.
You could single-handedly solve this moral scourge in society if you just dropped the sponsorship.
Or double-handedly.
Yeah.
No, Jade, you broke your mic.
Oh, it's still on. Unless
No, it went limp.
Yeah.
It went limp.
Jade's mic went limp. We started.
Jade's mic needs
I
Cialis.
swear to God, I usually do better than
Jade, we mentioned banning porn, and you go limp.
I feel bad for Roberto.
What the hell happened?
No. Roberto's all on board. I'm not banning porn. So,
Third of all, I would like to admit, if you're worried about sex in unmarried relationships, the Brewing Network has been around a long time with a lot of unmarried people, and guess what? All of us get laid on occasion.
Well,
Sam the least.
JP, I love the
Sam's
way you
married,
do that.
and he gets laid the least.
not
is-
everybody.
is my
But,
guess.
The thing is that we're only
You're
talking
probably
about
right.
spicing up your life, your sex life, right?
Sure, or my personal time. I don't care.
It's all about sexing up. You're spicing up your sex life, and which you already have.
Well, you're lying, because to me sometimes it's all about just having a good time when I'm bored in the middle of the
But
day.
it doesn't matter. But the first thing it says, do you want to spice up your
I
own
see.
sex life?
Oh,
So-
I see what you mean.
So-
That's what Adam and Eve's
Right,
advocating.
and we're just trying to enhance.
Sure.
He's just pissed because he was going to brew beer, got distracted, looked at porno instead, lost in Casa de Paul, and then lost a bunch of medals to Doc. and then now he's compensating. It's
He didn't
okay.
lose any to Nate, though. So
No, it's fine. I was safe, but everyone else.
But you're going on the road.
I'm going on the road. That's like
the only road badge you're getting is porn on the bus.
That's probably about right.
Sean, to be honest with you, I have nothing against your opinion on porn. You're welcome to it. If that means you'd like to boycott the show, it's fine by me. I'm neither here nor there. I refuse to cancel a perfectly legitimate sponsor because of because you don't think porn's acceptable. So that's just me being man to man. That's the deal.
I wonder, why is it so offensive? And that's fine, like you said.
It's his opinion. Yeah.
No, it's his opinion. That's fine. But if he's gotten so much out of it, and we have so many other great sponsors, that one makes him categorically dislike our show and an entire thing that we do because we have one sponsor he doesn't agree with.
Because he can just not patronize them.
Well, that's a terrible world to live in where you're just like, well, I don't want to do this, so, I'm not going to... I don't like the fact that you may or may not have sex, so I'm not going to even talk to you.
Right.
He cannot admit that he's really gay.
Oh, you should see the private message I just got.
Is it from Sean?
I don't know who it's from, but it starts out with, I thought you were a Christian. Oh, this fool's going down.
By the way,
all going to hell.
That is the worst way for a Christian to start a conversation with a Christian. If I could just point that out.
Do you think Jesus would be so aggressive?
I was actually going to type this out, but I'm a crappy typer, so I'm just going to say, I don't have to justify what I do and do not do to you. I don't patronize Adam and Eve myself, but if I choose to, it's my business.
You know what?
By the way, I had a dildo sent to your house just yesterday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know what?
I will use it on my dog.
Christians begat Christians. Somehow.
All right, this is going to get gnarly.
No,
yes, it is.
Jews beget Jews, and then they converted to Christianity.
Yeah.
And then they became homebrewers.
What a weird email. Anyway, Sean, I respect your opinion, and that's fine. Whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah, God bless.
All right, Ben writes in, hey, guys, I know how much you hate long, pointless emails. By the way, this is the longest fucking email in the whole thing.
It's all yellow.
So
That's edited, by the way, too.
So I'll try to make this quick.
There's 3 paragraphs of yellow there.
About 3 months ago, I got my first professional brewing job working for Redwell Brewery in Norwich. Oh, he's an Englishman. Oh, they're so long-winded.
Norwich.
English listeners, you know this about yourselves, right? Like, you guys do realize that you're the most... If I'm long-winded, you're double me.
Anytime you have to start out with, I know you don't like long emails, but it's going to be a long email.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely am the pot calling the kettle black.
Edited. It's a very nice email.
It is.
But
bear with me. Just read it to the end.
All right, he's from Norwich, UK. He's an assistant brewer at Redwell Brewery. We're a 10-barrel, mainly lager brewery, producing keg only, and have been shipping beer only about 4 to 5 months. I thought you'd be interested in hearing about our recent run-in with big business. With all the legal issues kicking around, it seems Red Bull are keen to not miss out. Basically, Red Bull took issue with our brand name as Redwell. Red Bull both contains the words red, to which Red Bull owns the copyright in the UK. And we share 2 L's at the end of our name. Luckily for us, though, Red Bull aren't used to bad press, and it seems Red Bull have actually dropped everything and let us continue making beer and using our name.
Wow.
We've agreed to not make an energy drink, and they've agreed to never make a beer. Thanks again for the amazing programming.
Good on both counts, probably.
Now, that's a perfectly reasonable... Now, sometimes you have to understand, especially with all the bitching I do about it, especially when you run a big company, sometimes names just get flagged automatically. Red Bull may never have actually intended to even attack Redwell, but they have a department who's out there to look for things, and I think in some cases they even just run algorithms, and things get flagged. And then they look more into it, and maybe a letter gets sent out just automatically, and then they look at it and go, okay, this is stupid. If they never make an energy drink and we never make a beer, everybody's happy. So we shouldn't assume that everybody is an asshole in big business.
Right.
Those just happen to be the ones we read about in the news.
Right.
So,
and in this case, though, it was their social media. They had a lot of fans rally behind them on social media and start an uproar. And then Red Bull finally was like, "Whoa, I didn't, all right, let's be cool about this."
Okay.
So
maybe they were about to be an asshole until they realized this could actually give them some bad press.
Well, no, all the lawyers they have on retainer,
that
can make some money off of shitting on little people.
Sure.
And then he said, "Oh, hey,
let's not do that."
Yeah, we don't need this for this.
Yeah,
but it's a good story. I thought it was good.
It is good. And of all the shit we can talk about social media, I think there's been a couple of examples in recent times that it really does help the little guy. If you're able to actually have a voice that can be seen by then media agencies who pick up on the story and it goes into normal media, it's really helped, companies like this. It helped in the Magic Hat case against the
West 6th.
See, you remember it. And I was thinking their 5 minutes of fame didn't go very far because I couldn't even remember the name of the other one. But social media has been very effective in things like that. So you got to love that.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it. Feedback was brought to you today by Adventures in Homebrewing, and we thank them so much for sponsoring the program, homebrewing.org. Hopefully Sean doesn't have anything against that wonderful sponsor. I'm sure nobody at Adventures in Homebrewing has ever watched porn.
I don't think that homebrewing should really be an adventure. It's more of a calculated thing to get into slowly.
Right. Which reminds me, if you're looking for a way to spice things up in the bedroom, go to our old friends over at adamandeve.com. And I'll tell you what, for a limited time only, you can go there and use coupon code BNARMY, that's BNARMY, and you'll get 50% off just about any one item. You'll get free shipping. You'll get 3 free adult DVDs from categories such as...
MILF.
Jade, I'm going to you on this one. I got to know what your category is going to be.
It's got to be something about one of the big butts.
Butts. That girl. Big butts. It's Bevo's favorite category. She also likes...
I like big butts, and I cannot lie.
Yeah, baby.
Nathan, what category are you going to be looking at while on the road?
Give me some more
Big
pie.
Butts is just stolen. So
I think he's looking into
Big boobs. There we go.
Yes.
I figured he'd be looking into grannies.
I'll take that too, goddammit.
Wow. Man. You just took my old jokes to a new level, Doc. I love it.
Good show.
JP, what category would you be looking at on your last tour if you were going on it?
Oh, you got to go upskirt, man.
Is that a category?
Whoa, yeah, nice
course.
one.
Why not?
I figured you'd be doing like outdoor.
No, I'm not. As much as I like
is upskirt
camping.
like mirrors on the top of your shoes?
Yeah, what is that?
Well,
Gosh, my ninth grade math teacher had that shit.
Yeah, you put like a video camera in a gym bag, and you walk around and you kind of just go, There's a lot of Asian upskirt, which is pretty
It's
nice.
not creepy at all, which is why JP loves it.
Right.
Or public places for you.
All right, all of that plus a free extra gift so sensual we can't mention it on internet radio. Go to adamandeve.com right now and just do your normal shopping. Use coupon code BNARMY. You get all that stuff, and they do help us out. And I'll tell you what, they help us out quite a bit. They've been very good to us over the years, and we appreciate their support. There you go.
Woohoo!
Hey, you know what else I need to tell you about?
Tell me.
Well, please.
And in
Let's
fact,
go.
Doc mentioned it early today. Our old friend Colin Kaminsky at Downtown Joe's. They are back as a notable and prominent sponsor of the Brewing Network.
Woo!
That's right. That's right. Mr. Hydrochloric Acid himself. The Downtown Joe's, it's in downtown Napa, a wonderful vacation destination. And if you just need a beer after all that wine tasting, like I know you do, Downtown Joe's is the place to go. You can go to downtownjoes.com. They have an all-new website. I don't know if you noticed that, JP.
I did notice that. I like it a lot.
Great new website. Colin is one of the most... he constantly strives for newer and better beer. Don't you agree, Doc? Like, he's a guy who's never gone, well, that's it. This is as good as my beer's going to...
I'm static. I'm going to just brew what I brew. Because you know what? I've hit my mark.
Yeah.
No.
Not him.
Never happy
So
with
not
it.
him.
Well, even when he's happy, like, he'll produce like an IPA.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, God, I finally love it. And then I go back a month later. So I'm tweaking the IPA.
Yeah, sometimes it's frustrating. He's like, what are you doing? This is perfect. I went there a couple months ago, actually, and his porter was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Just this rich, chocolatey... Oh, it was so good. It was easily the best beer I've ever had from that man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's really, really improving.
And I'm guessing if you can convince the wife to burn a day in Napa,
yeah,
he'd let you brew with him.
He probably would.
Oh, he totally would.
You'd call ahead and say, I want to brew with you.
But what he does, he makes you brew.
Oh,
you can't just go and watch. It's like, all right, start huffing grain.
You're huffing grain. You're sweating in there.
Gotta wash pots.
He'll do everything with you.
Oh, yeah.
But you just burned it in Napa with your wife.
Yeah. All right, go check him out, downtownjoes.com. Colin's a good friend of ours, and we're so happy to have him back on board with the Brewing Network.
I think he's got a book coming out soon, too.
Yeah,
Yes, he does.
Co-author of a book.
Yep, you're going to be hearing about that from us probably next week. Co-author along with our old friend John Palmer.
Yep.
You know, speaking of John Palmer,
John Palmer.
I got phone calls.
Rita fucking Palmer.
But I did want to point out, you know, Jay said he's going to teach his 12-year-old son how to brew. But what he made him do first, 2 weeks earlier, is read how to brew.
He made him read the fucking Palmer.
And the kid, he read the fucking Palmer, and the kid comes out. He got to like chapter 11 or something, whatever chapter, starts getting into chemistry. And he started reading through the chemistry too. But he came out to his dad. And he's like, "Dad, I'm 12, man. I can't remember these equations." So his dad's like, "It's okay. It's all right. You can stop there." But I'll be damned. On the day of the brew, he could recite all the first chapters, all first 11, whatever he got through. He's out there going, "Oh yeah, now we're loudering, and now we need to make sure that our strike temperature is the right one because there's enzymatic activity that's going to take place." Like, the kid was really knowing his shit based on how to brew. So
maybe you could take a couple lessons.
That's what I was thinking. Exactly.
Is there not something wrong with that?
I was thinking, God, if how to brew could help the 12-year-old, what the fuck is wrong with me? I'll figure it out one
Have
day.
you read that book? Because maybe that's the one you should start with.
I've read it like 4 times.
Maybe you should get it on audiobook. Maybe listening to
Or
it
sober.
would be better for you.
You know,
Audiobook.
I already know. We need a campfire. It's gonna be me, you, Nate, Tasty. We're gonna all read little chapters
together.
Can I come? I'll bring the marshmallows.
That sounds special.
We should
Yes, it is.
No, we should do a play.
I'm a visual guy. Yeah,
How to brew play.
Act out how to brew. Maybe that's how we should do BNA 9. Instead of a band, we're going to act out how to brew.
Oh, man.
With Disney characters.
I am the chlorine ion.
This is amazing.
We should make it a musical.
It has to be a musical.
Yeah. And the thing, cleave one away, and then you got clean water.
Oh my God, I'm buying my tickets for Grand Rapids right
See?
now.
I have never liked one of your ideas more than this idea right now.
I love
JP.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
It'll
gotta,
be my
it's
opus.
gotta be very third grady.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's what he was just describing.
Who's gonna play the piano? We have to have
Sammy!
No, we have to have an old lady play the piano.
No. Sammy plays the goddamn piano.
I
don't
just
play the
have to
piano.
be in tune. I can do it.
Sam can dress up as an old lady.
And by piano, I mean a
can.
Casio with a fake...
The keytard?
The keytar.
Remember when he made him the keytard?
Yeah, no, that's what I just called it.
That's what he's playing. All right, let's go to the phones. We've got that blind guy on the phone. He's got a question for Paul.
Warren?
What's up, blind dude?
Hey, Justin, you guys are my Brewing brothers.
How are you, man?
I'm glad to have you guys with your asses back in those seats. It's been too long.
Yeah, we're happy to be back.
Can't hear you. Stop talking to your shoe.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If I order from Adam and Eve,
yes,
a strap-on for Sean's wife, so she can bang some sense into him, do I get the 3 DVDs and the extra sensuous gift?
Fuck yeah!
I think you do.
Wait, I thought you were blind.
How would you benefit from the
My
DVDs?
friend.
Well,
Hey,
one of
I listen to porn.
I listen to porn.
I was going to say one of the new genres Adam and Eve is coming out with on DVD is Braille. Porn.
Braille porn.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh yeah.
You have no idea how good Braille sex is, man.
Do you have a question for Paul, blind dude?
I do, my friend Paul. I am doing a session amber, and the reason I called was because you mentioned Galaxy and Motica. And I was looking at the oils in the Galaxy and the Motica, and I know Spider has said before, when you're doing your flavor and your aroma additions, just keep the additions equal. But in looking at the oils, the Galaxy has twice, or almost 3 times the oil as the Motica. I was wondering, if you balance for oils, does it work out better, and one doesn't dominate? Have you messed around at all with that, with reference to the oil and the balancing?
What do you think, Paul? Hang on.
Yeah, I look at the cohumulin that's in a lot of the different hops, and when I'm trying to figure out how much of which hops to use, I try to balance the cohumulin levels. But to be honest, the thing I'm mostly concerned about are the flavor that comes out the final beer. And so most of the hop additions I ultimately will do is, what is it that I want to have be the foreground flavor in the beer, and then what's the hop flavors I want to have right behind it. And that really controls the amounts. But I know a lot of brewers do look very closely at cohumulin levels when they figure out exactly, because they don't want to put too much in of the other hop oils, because they feel it kind of dominates the flavor and the aroma of the beer.
You'll look at cohumulone for dry hopping and late hopping, not just for bittering?
I use it for flavor additions all the way through.
Okay.
But not bittering.
All right. That answer your question?
More the cohumulone than looking at the essential oils, because my concern was the essential oils, which is actually giving us more of the flavor and the aroma. See, that's what I'm saying. Is Galaxy is like 2.8 and Motica is 0.8. And if you're getting most of your flavors from Galaxy at 2.8, it's going to come out dominant unless you balance it with the Motica. Am I wrong there?
Well, so even though I'm an engineer and I'm geeky on all this stuff, what I've found is the best thing is experience, trial and error the stuff, because you may decide that you'd like it with more resins in there from the hops. So regardless of what the numbers will tell you, and by the way, year to year they change based on the crops.
Yeah.
But
even the farm too, yeah.
Trial and error, I would say. Yeah, the farm and yeah.
And that's a good point too. I've had some that the brewer. I've tried to walk through what I'm tasting, and the brewer said that it's really resiny, and I've absolutely loved them. And in other cases with different hops that are really resiny, I've absolutely hated it. So I think you're right about the trial and error. Just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also rolls with the base beer. What you're going to balance it with.
Right.
Hops, to me, is always the balance with the malt profile.
Yeah, exactly. It's there to dial back the sweetness for the malts, except for nowadays with us making double IPAs and stuff.
Like, like on beers like this, like Red Flag, ton of dry hop in this. Have you kept the amounts the same over time, or do you adjust that based on how it's turning out?
Yeah, but definitely. As the hop crop, as you get further into the crop year, I add more hops into it. So this version of Red Flag has more hops in it than we did when we got them fresh.
Because the oils are starting to diminish a bit.
That's right. So it's a really hard variable. As an engineer, you can't lock that in and say this is going to be fixed every time I brew the beer. You're better off just brewing often, brew the same, change one variable and see what you like.
You have to experiment and taste.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for you.
Why, I drink a lot of beer?
No, you're an engineer.
Oh, come on.
I got more phone calls.
They expect it to be this, and this.
Right.
And, sorry.
Beer's not quite that.
No,
I see what you mean.
not.
All right, Blind Dude, thank you for the call. I got to move because I got some other ones, too. I got Merle on the line, and Merle, he's got a brewing problem question. Merle, what's up, man?
Oh, guys, help me.
Where are you calling from?
I'm in my garage scavenging for the tools I need to complete my brew.
In what state does your garage reside?
Disrepair.
Sorry, where?
Here is I got a situation.
He's from Florida. I didn't type that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What do you got?
All right. Last night did a saison. Went fine. Everything's fermenting well. Figured I'd do a second runnings tonight. So let's say, I listened. Went to the cousin, so I'm a little scattered.
That's all right.
That's your first problem.
Thank you for admitting it. Okay, go on.
It helps.
Where was I? Last thing I said.
You brewed a saison.
You brewed a saison or looking for second runnings.
Well, last night, and now you want to do second runnings.
Yeah, and so I heard Jamil in the past say that it would be cool to let a mash go overnight. So about 4 o'clock this afternoon, I, dove back in, and it sat till about 8 o'clock. And I've come back and did the boil, everything, did my hop additions, and I got the wort chiller in there. And I'm cleaning up my stuff and come back out and find the top of the wort chiller hose has popped and is squirting hose water into my kettle.
Ah.
At which
so
part?
I got about
At which time do you
a gallon of...
At which time do you want to abort this thing?
So you got about a gallon of hose water in there.
I think I got up to about a gallon, so just fired it back up and figured that'd be one of my flavor additions.
No.
Right? Right.
How long do you want to drag this thing out?
Well,
okay, it was.
I want to say that I respect his optimism.
No, seriously, this is very
just
optimistic.
calling it a flavor addition.
No. Was it one of those white hoses that you use for your RV?
Come on, it's not.
I know. It's like the shittiest green hose.
It's a green ass.
I know.
It's been in his front yard since 1978.
It's the Mercaptan edition for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the backyard green hose hooked to the house. But I bought it.
Go ahead.
I bought it a week ago, and this is like the third time I've used it.
Okay. Go ahead and save it. Say, can I save this beer?
I'm boiling
Say it.
again. I've been boiling for about 20 minutes.
Oh, you're good.
Fuck.
So
Stop boiling.
Yeah, and I'm trying to repair the hose at the top of the wort chiller now.
All he's worried about is the fucking hose. I don't know. If it were my beer, I'm fermenting that shit out. I got to know what it tastes like.
You know what? If
I got to know. I've gone through all of that. I got to know what it tastes like.
If my arm was 3,000 miles long, I'd slap you. Don't even bother.
Ferment it out.
You'd have to.
Never
I disagree
dump.
with Doc.
Never dump.
Yeah.
Do you have yeast?
No, at this point, yeah.
You have yeast?
You want to carry through fermentation because you know what? It might be the best beer in the world. You never fucking know.
That's
you
right.
never
I bought
know.
the yeast.
You have yeast locked and loaded, ready to go, right?
And I figured I could bottle a couple of them, send them to you guys.
That would be great.
Now what do you think, Dustin?
Dump it.
And there's always that night when you drink all the good beer and you're like, shit, I want some more. And there you go.
Right. Spoken like a true white trash.
Don't you judge me. You know you've had the same thing happen.
If it will cost you no more money or no more effort, go ahead and ferment it. Otherwise...
I was going to say, should I save the beer or the yeast?
The yeast.
It's a nice 550 White Labs.
Yeah, no. Even the 550 is not going to save this chlorine bomb.
How many gallons is the beer? Total.
Oh, and get this.
Total.
Another factor.
Jesus.
I grew the hops that I use. This is my homegrown hop stash that I was using.
Fermented.
Oh, you have to ferment it then.
Ferment it. How many gallons of wort do you have right now?
I started with about 3.5, and
down to like a half now.
I was just going to make a small batch.
Wait. So 3, and a gallon of it is the hose water. Oh, I'm switching over to Doc.
How many gallons of usable wort do you have?
I get it.
4.5 gallons now.
If it's not going to cost you anything, ferment it. It'll be a good learning experience for you.
Yeah, now I'm with you. If it was like a 10, 12 gallon, right, and a gallon of it is
right.
I actually would be a little optimistic. Maybe it's going to be okay. It's 3 gallons now. He's added a gallon of hose water.
We all remember as kids drinking out of the hose.
Yeah. Fucking ferment it. Call it an experimental.
Seriously,
And
it's
enter
one
it into
friggin'
the
package of
NHC.
yeast. Go for it.
Well,
enter one in every category in HC.
How bad could
Oh, yeah, it's Ninkasi metal right there.
It's only Florida. It's the summer. Water's like 90 degrees.
Oh, yeah,
it's like mostly
you're going to cool
chlorine.
right down to pitching
And he's using a
temperature.
Belgian yeast, too, right?
So you have chlorophenols and a bunch of phenols and esters. Oh,
this
man.
sounds like Band-Aid.
I thought you meant that nothing of quality comes out of Florida, so it's only Florida. Go ahead and ferment
Well,
it.
draw your own conclusions.
I'm hurling right
So
now.
I actually have a real question about this.
Uh-oh.
Doubt it.
This is since I'm very naive with brewing.
Right.
Is this is this not like a recipe I was making at home and I messed up and I doubled something that I shouldn't have? Can he not go back and add other things in to make it equal?
Not anymore.
A whole bunch of other double
Because
stuff?
he's already gone through his boil. He's done a sour mash. He's done all of these steps for
That
this
you can't go
specific
back and,
beer. You can't double up on anything
Well,
to do
I
this.
tried.
Yeah.
You know what the really fucked up part is you could be making the world's next greatest beer, and you'll never be able to replicate it.
Yeah, that's true. So if I
could be
ferment it. It's not going to be good, but ferment it.
Go for it. Carry it through.
All right, thanks, Merle. We have Roberto from HopTech on line 3.
Oh shit!
Hey, Roberto, what's up? Are you standing in my studio?
He's in the hallway.
No, I'm outside. I'm outside.
Yeah.
I want to apologize.
Okay.
I saw the picture in Zymergy magazine,
Here we go.
and I like yours much better.
What are we talking about? What picture?
The one of where the picture was taken.
Picture on the newsletter.
Oh, that's right, because Roberto got cut out of our Club of the Year photo that's up on Facebook.
And he's really such a whiny bitch. He's got to be in everything.
Well, and Roberto, in my defense, I asked
sorry.
JP to change it, but JP, he's the manager of those things, his opinion was that the
He said,
photo we
"Fuck
had
Roberto,
was
man.
better.
Fuck Roberto. We're going to take it anyway."
I understand, but I saw the Zymergy.
Are you taking a
and
shit,
I'm
Roberto?
Sorry.
I saw the
I like yours better.
I'll tell you what, Roberto, I will personally Photoshop your face over my face.
There we go. That's a sexy hybrid.
I think Roberto's calling from Beavis' butt.
Oh, wait a minute. God damn it. That could be interesting. Don't give me that visual, guys. Don't give me that visual. Shit.
Oh, no. I saw you
Really,
outside.
hang up on him now.
All right, thank you, Roberto. Jade gives me permission to hang up on you. Which line is Ohio Brew on, Bevo?
I saw your photo in Zymergy.
Bevo, can we take bets right now? Will Bevo ever become good at her job?
No.
Will she ever remember, just give me what line they're on, what state they're calling from? I mean,
the full package.
What if we go on for another 10 years?
What are you bitching about?
We're having our 18th...
Well, you, obviously.
Well, yes.
If we have our 18th anniversary party, do you think Bevo will be good at answering the phones by then?
It depends.
He's on line
Will Nate
1.
have short hair? Will you take a bath? All these questions.
How long ago would Sam have died?
Oh, jeez.
17 years ago.
Yeah, then yes. Yes.
She might be. Oh, Ohio Brew has a question for Doc. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, shit.
Hello.
Ohio Brew, what's up?
All right. So,
What do you got?
All right. So I ordered some yeast, and unfortunately FedEx fucked up and let it sit in the warehouse for 3 days. And so I was it's WLP 002 English L yeast. I've never used this before, and it's on my stir plate, and it looks all coagulated and really nasty.
002?
Is this something that it's normal for this yeast? 002, yeah.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Next
it's
call,
normal
please.
for this yeast.
It is, yeah. The 002. In fact, we talked about that. Not that you should know this, but I would have asked the same question.
Yeah.
It's a gnarly looking
You used
yeast.
to get a lot of that at Moorman. So if you contrast the 002 with whatever the Hefeweizen yeast is, 300 or whatever it is, it's super powdery.
Okay.
Yeast they do different shit. But you're totally fine.
In shipping, yeast packs down. You see all this clear liquid above it. It packs down.
Yeah, but this is his
Fine.
starter, and with his 002, he's right. It's a creepy looking yeast.
002 is so flocculent. It's going to do that. It looks like peanut butter at the bottom of that thing.
Go ahead.
For the first 24 hours, it looked completely normal. It was all homogenized, and then all of a sudden, it just
It's probably ready to flocculate, is what Nate's talking about. It kind of clumps together, and with whatever else is in your starter too, and falls to the bottom. It's a wonderful thing about that yeast. So yeah, it starts out all in solution, and then it starts to flock.
Especially if you're used to looking at 001.
Oh yeah.
I've used 001 my whole career, and I got to try some 002.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It is weird looking. Good question. Actually, this is a really good question. we've got.
As long as you don't get a layer on the top that looks like a skin.
Okay.
And then you're looking at a contamination in your starter. Otherwise, you're fine. Just stir it up and actually, I would decant it and then dump it in.
There you go. You're good, Ohio Brew. Cheers.
All right, thanks.
Later. All right, that's it, Beef.
No? Yeah. Beef's got more.
She gives me like 8 callers.
No,
She's
we're
like,
done.
Ohio Brew's on the phone. He has this question. This guy's on this, and he has this question. Not one, and I got 4 fucking lights in front of me. I don't know which one to push.
I went back through and wrote blind, line 1, Merle, and I'm pretty sure that's not how you spell Merle. Line 2.
How did she spell Merle?
M-U-R-L.
My name is Merle Haggard. M-U-R-L.
I was really trying to figure it out, and then I was like, his name is Merle. I'm going to write this as terrible as I can.
You know, Beef, if we were to go into Fantasyland for 1 second and assume that I paid you a good wage.
In Disneyland?
Or any wage. You know what? I still wouldn't fire your shitty ass.
Thank you.
And I don't know why. There's something charming about me having to fucking fight through every goddamn phone call of my life to figure out who I'm talking to.
Merle.
Whatever. It was phonetic.
I don't even think it was phonetic. Merle. Sounds like a skin disease.
Yeah. Merle.
By the way, you have Merle. Oh, God, how do I get rid of it?
Yeah.
Who touched me?
Maybe that guy who likes to is blind, he likes to read by touch. Merle. Oh, you have Merle. I can feel it on you.
It's called Braille.
I feel it on you.
Braille. Spell Braille.
I want to brew with blind dude. Don't you want to brew with blind? Something about that guy. I don't know. He seems like a fun guy.
No.
I mean, someone's got to brew with him, right?
Right.
Nah.
He's a robot.
You know, now that I've taught Vinny how to brew, I could probably teach the blind guy.
No, he'd be touching things and burning things.
What better person for me to teach to brew than a blind guy? Right? I mean, it's perfect fit.
A dead guy?
Teach him how to brew, and then in the end, it'll just be like a cake or something. And he'll think he made beer, but in reality, he made you a cake.
Let's face it, he would teach me to brew.
Yeah, probably.
He'd be like, here's how we're going to start.
Well,
wear this blindfold. I'll probably make the best beer I've ever made.
It's the Karate Kid.
When you serve him...
You would end up in the emergency room.
when you serve the blind guy the beer that you made at the end,
Yeah.
he won't know where it came from. You could have brought a bottle of anything.
And he's not worried about. He's not worried about those bubbles.
He would hear the difference in the CO2 when you crack the cap.
Oh, God damn it, Tasty made it. Just tell him Tasty made it.
All right.
First of all, I got to poke your eyes out.
Yeah, okay.
Then you can brew.
Yeah, this first we poke out eye. Why does he have to be? I don't know why. Why does he have to have a shitty Asian stereotype accent?
Oh, what color belt do you have? Black. Where'd you get it? Macy's.
First, we start. You know more vision.
You know more. I take your vision from you, and then replace. I give you brewing knowledge.
Yes.
You brewed, Daniel, son.
You must sacrifice.
Then we bowl haircut you.
Whatever. I'm going to shave my head this week, I think.
Can I do it?
I want to see you in a bowl cut.
Hop Tech will pay for it.
Bowl cut.
What is it? I own the shaver, Jade.
Bowl cut.
Yeah, God damn it, then Hop Tech will do it.
Right.
On air.
Let's make an event out of it while we're at it. Might as well be a fundraiser.
Yeah, they have to wait
There you
till
go.
Saturday.
Such a pain in the ass.
Instead of like, beer for boobs or pints for prostrates, you would like shave Justin's head.
Yeah.
For the hell of it.
For the
Yeah.
fuck of it.
I can
shits and
so
giggles.
do that.
It's money to make Justin look like an asshole.
Shaving your head is it's tough,
not,
dude.
Shaving your head is not going to make you look more or less like an asshole.
Sexy, dude. It's sexy. Yeah. Well, yeah, okay.
You don't think it'll make me look more like an asshole?
It won't make you more than an asshole.
Like a
You can't.
Come on.
freak.
It'll make you look more like an asshole.
Okay, thank you. That's all I'm looking for.
No, Justin, really, you
I'm
got
not even asking for a compliment. I just want to know it'll make me look like more.
No, I really think you should leave your hair long. You look much better with it that way.
Let's cut him short.
Long with a hat on.
Maybe I should outsource the washing and styling of my hair.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
that
called
will.
a barber.
Maybe you should just learn personal hygiene and take a shower every day.
God damn it, Bevo. You know what? You really cut the fine hairs, don't you?
Can I outsource that?
I
do. People in hospitals do. They get sponge baths and shit.
That's what you need. You need to get some debilitating disease.
Sam's going to be a
Are we
nurse.
like
He can just
MRSA?
be your personal nurse.
you mean again?
Sponge bath.
So I would love it if Sam was my personal nurse. Can you imagine?
Lift the sack.
Your personal nurse.
At some point in my life, I hope that Sam is like. I hope I'm sort of not even that old. I hope I'm like 40, but something happens to me.
A car accident. You have a car accident.
Yeah, you
that makes
hurt
you like a
yourself.
quadruple.
You've seen what Sam is capable of. He's going to let a homeless guy in. You want to clean? You want to
Yeah.
wash some random dude?
But I have a feeling that
Come on.
He
he'll
does
be
take
the.
care of our child pretty okay.
He does. He'll be the. Whatever happens to me, I'll have some sort of tunnel vision that makes me. I won't accept anybody doing it except for Sam, and he becomes my personal caretaker.
He'll be cuter than Abigail the whole time.
Give me Sam. Honey, Sam. Sam. Sam.
Except your speech will be like messed up, so it'll be like, Shaw.
And I'll have to move in. I'll have to move in with you and
And then he'll
Sam.
talk like Abigail.
Wait, did you just say you'd move in with me?
Yeah,
No.
because I will need a full-time caregiver.
You know,
No.
and you're going to fight us every time you need to shave.
This isn't funny at all, actually. This
We'll
is
start
really
calling you
terrible.
Grandpa.
Keita!
We'll have guests over, and you'll just start screaming. Just ignore that.
Yeah, who is that?
Let me out.
He'll drill at the Thanksgiving table to say, it's okay, it's Uncle Justin, it's okay.
That's Justin. Do you remember when he was a broadcaster?
Would you like to say the
touch
blessing,
me.
Justin?
To that, I would respond no.
Yeah.
Remember when he knew what he was doing?
Gracie?
Gracie. We'll call you Gracie.
Gracie died 20 years ago. All right. I think we're done, right?
I think we should be done. Hey, I met up with Riggs. I just want to give a quick shout out to Riggs.
Riggs.
You know, our good buddy Riggs in the chat room. He made a nice beer that I got to hang out with him and have a nice beer.
Riggs is a good dude. He doesn't have a neck.
No.
He doesn't have a neck,
no,
but
he
he's like
not
half
have one.
Asian.
sort of
it's
looks like a
fun.
beehive.
He's like a
There
Mexican
you go,
Asian.
shoulder to big head.
Yeah.
He's
We've met
brewing
Riggs.
now. He's a commercial brewer.
Oh.
Ohana Brewing Company, I believe, is the brewery that he works at.
Did he quit his day job?
Yeah,
Not yet, but
Does he
he's soon.
fly to Hawaii every day?
They'll ramp. It's not in Hawaii. It sounds
Yeah, it's
like
in
it.
Orange County.
But he's like doing recipes for him, and yeah, I guess their old brewer left them high and dry. He just bailed, and he became highly recommended for some reason.
That's
Probably
wow.
kicked someone's ass.
He's pulling a Paul Sangster.
Awesome.
He's
Yeah.
moonlighting.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's doing a good job. His homebrew is great.
Twitter game.
Twitter game.
Oh,
I forgot. What is the Dave Matthews Band song called about Tasty?
Yeah, if Dave Ramsey made a personal
Yeah.
fortune chart for,
It would be called God is in Your Savings Account.
Give me a budget, and then I'll sing for you. Yes. What was it? What would Dave? Whatever you just said.
Yeah. What would the song be called that Dave Matthews wrote about our good friend Tasty?
So our friend Beaten Husband Brewing would call it "Sad Old Starfuckers Make Me Smile."
I like that.
I like it pretty too.
I'm drunk.
Outlandish wrote, "Why is this old guy groping my groupie?"
That is what
I like. That
I wish Schumann were here to actually play a few notes of each of these songs. That would have been a good bit.
That would be good.
I wish I'd thought of that earlier.
Mike B writes, "Tasty beers and tasteless women."
Not bad.
All right. Jared Lambert writes, "2 cookies and a hand job." I think it's too clever for a Dave Matthews song.
Yeah, but that's one of our best.
2 cookies and a hand job.
What is he, Lennon mixed with Dave Matthews and Bob Dylan?
Dave Matthews sings like he was a burn victim.
Yeah, he does have a weird. Yeah.
And then, of course, our drunk buddies at Flat Tail Brewing, who confused Tasty with Doc, wrote, "What would you say if I told you your fillings were lead-based?"
That would be a good song about Doc.
Right. Right. Actually, I think it's a pretty good one about Tasty, too.
Right.
And then Wayne Perry wrote, "Groped."
So that's more Dave Matthews style, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, it would be more,
that one word title. Yeah.
Oh, you mean terrible?
So that's going to make it tough for me because that's funny and it's clever. Mm-hmm. It's Dave Matthews style.
Right.
But I really like 2 cookies, 1 hand job.
That's the best one.
2 cookies and a hand job.
Oh, 2 cookies and a hand job.
I kind of like the flat tail one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but against the rules. All right, raise your hand if it's 2 cookies and a hand job.
There you go.
Nearly unanimous. All right, who is that? Who's our winner?
That was Jared Lambert.
All right.
Yeah.
JP will send you a prize. It'll be a Dave Matthews CD.
I'll steal him from Karen.
Or not.
Remember that time, that dumb 3 weeks where we tried to make the whole Twitter game vote unanimous?
Yes.
And it never really worked out.
I thought we tried to do that with Drunk of the Week when we were trying to make it that cool, too.
We did also. Unanimously never works.
It was probably both. You know, I used to be ashamed of the fact that we would make rules or things that we're going to do on the Brewing Network and then never follow through with them after they failed.
Yeah.
And now I'm quite proud of it because I feel like, fuck it. I don't have to answer to you.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
So I like that we say all these things, but we don't even revisit it. We don't even go back and say it's no longer unanimous. We just move on like it never happened.
Right.
And if people could do that in their life with more of their mistakes, I think we'd be a happier place. You should take a cue from the Brewing Network.
That little voice in my head I hear sometimes. It's like, suck a dick.
Yeah.
It's like JP walking around with me always.
Just move on.
Is it telling you?
He's on your shoulder.
No.
Saying?
It's saying it to other people.
Oh, okay.
Oh, even
Good question, JP.
It tells Doc, but in Nate's case, it's just saying it to other people.
Even my kids say, JP'd hate that. They do.
Wow, I don't know whether to be ashamed or happy about that.
And by the way, they say that to everything.
Just yes.
JP'd hate that.
Yeah. They got a really great gift. JP would hate that.
You got a college scholarship. Yeah, well, guess what?
Here's $500.
JP would hate that.
Great. Why did you give it to me like that?
Why could it be 501, you asshole?
I got a new puppy. JP would hate that.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Why do I speak for JP?
Because
I don't know.
Because JP would hate that.
All right, next week on the program, apparently we have Michael Jordan on.
Oh, really? The tall black guy?
According to Moscow, I don't know if he's tall and black. I do know he's from Boxing Cat Brewery.
Okay.
So maybe
could be different.
Could also be the same guy. Maybe he invested in Boxing Cat Brewery. Maybe he's also of Chicago Bulls fame.
Retirement.
Michael Jordan, next week on the program. Paul Sangster, thanks for coming in and sharing beer with us.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's been fun.
That song from Space Jam just came in my head.
Sorry if it affected what we did the last 5 minutes. So.
You should not apologize. We should be thanking you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're
Go
welcome.
to ripcurrentbrewing.com right now, and you can check it out. Great website, and actually, I kind of feel like I'm on vacation just looking at it.
Yeah, it's supposed to give you that feeling.
I'm red flagging my liver right now.
And go see him if you're in the San Marcos area. You turn left at Lost Abbey or right at Stone, and you'll find, I think that's what you said, right?
I'm sure it'll
That's how you find Rip Current.
Work
in the shadow of the gargoyle.
Put your navigation on.
It's like sun, sand, hot 19-year-olds.
Right. It's like that.
It's a little too old.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Can I comment on something? Can I do a social commentary for a second?
Only if you hate it.
Yes.
Based on hot 19-year-olds. So I was at Disneyland this week, and apparently the new fashion for young girls, and I'm ashamed to say that I don't like this, it's to show a lot of bra. So they have like the muscle shirt, like 14, 13
I hate that.
year olds.
I know what you're talking
it's
about.
Like the muscle shirt all the way like kind of down to the side on their side. So their bra showing on two sides, and this one girl had like a backless T-shirt. So her bra was showing on three sides, coochie cutters with her bottoms of her butt cheeks hanging out, and then she goes and meets like her dad, and they're walking around Disneyland. I'm going, you're 14 years old.
Are you sure they're 14?
Yes, they looked very underdeveloped.
Did you snap the bra strap?
I should have, but it was like that's the new fashion.
You know, as much as you don't want to like this, God damn it, if I agree with you, that's not right.
It's not.
And you know why it's not right? Because it turns me into the creepy guy.
Yes.
It's not my fault.
My sunglasses aren't dark enough for me to get the side view, right? Where I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm listening to you, Taryn, and then I'm looking at the thing. I can't do that.
So the question becomes, by the way, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Thank you.
You need to get different glasses.
I know.
You know the old dudes who wear the ones, like the glasses that go over their glasses?
They're called cocoons. We sell them at my office.
I think, JP, you and I should work on making that a trend, because it would help us a lot.
You can wear them over top of your glasses.
And then you can get that wheelchair that gets you right up to the front of the line.
You know, I consider myself a pretty liberal guy, and I hope, God forbid, if I ever become a parent, I might be the same. But is that too liberal as a dad to allow your 14-year-old daughter to have her ass cheeks hanging out the bottom of her shorts?
Yeah. I mean, really serious. That's fucking sick.
I hope to never be faced with these decisions.
If she's a fucking gymnast and it's the Olympics, that's one thing.
Yes.
It's a uniform. But if you're walking around wherever, it doesn't matter where in public, and the bra and the butt cheeks, it's too much, isn't it?
Because as a father, as a guy, you know that the father is looking at me. He's looking at me.
Yeah, what are you looking at?
Directly behind his daughter and her friends.
Do you have the right to say, you know what the fuck I'm looking at because you let her out the house like that?
I think you do, actually.
I should have.
I would hope somebody would say something to me for letting my kid dress like that.
I have two boys. I don't have to worry about that, but I'm hoping they will bring them home to dinner.
Dr. Scott.
Shouldn't a father really think about the fact of, like, when he was 14 or 17, if he was 17, if he'd have looked at a 14-year-old girl, how his daughter is dressed, if he got a hard on, would he not really double think it as a father, and this is my girl, this is my daughter?
Right.
I don't understand what's going on. I saw a 9-year-old.
It's because they're fucking
biker
sick.
short.
God
and
damn
like,
it.
Well, that's, I mean, 9, I think 9 can do anything, because it's a 9-year-old.
Tight, very short. She kept pulling them down because they kept riding so far. It was like, it's too much. You're showing too much.
How long did you follow this girl?
For about an hour and a half. Well, I had to
That's
make
where the
sure.
obscure comment came from earlier.
Doing it. You know, for like 4 hours, she kept pulling it down.
Too short and too small.
Well, and you're
that's a
wondering
common
because
problem
finally
is buying clothes of freaking size too. Your shorts are one size too small, and your vagina is going to eat them, and you're going to look like the nasty girl pulling at her vagina all day.
9-year-old is another thing. That's a whole. Let me play
ooh
devil's
and at the same time.
Let me play devil's advocate about the 14-year-old for a second. Again, clearly I'm not a father, but there's also the other,
no, you're not.
The other side of the coin is
you're not.
At 14 or so years old, you're about to hate everything your parents say.
Yep.
You're about to think your father's a fucking asshole and won't let you do anything.
True.
So, in some ways, I do sympathize with these dads, because if other dads are allowing it, so in other words, all their friends at school are going out with the bra showing and the butt hanging out, and you're the one dad who tells your daughter she's not allowed to do that, I'm not advocating this. I'm just throwing it out there.
You're the asshole.
It's not easy, right? You don't want your daughter to hate you. She's the
You said hard.
She's the sweet. Well, at home, she's the sweetest girl on the planet, and that's how you see her. And so it doesn't matter what kind of slutty outfit she puts on. You don't see her that way. She's just your sweet little girl.
Yeah, but underneath the bleacher, she's probably the sweetest girl too.
No. Well, you got to let her be individual. Her individuality. So she can look like everybody else.
Oh, goddamn, that sounds like a pedophile.
Well, no, she's...
I see. No, you're making a good point.
She's trying to be... I want to be individual, Dad. I want to push my individuality.
But you look like everybody else.
Look like everybody else.
I want to push me individually up through the decrease of my shirt.
I want to push individually.
Yeah, well, that's it.
I want to insert my individually.
Just sharpen the bat.
I guess all I'm saying is,
what does that even mean?
It's
poo. You know,
it sucks to be the father of a popular girl, of a good-looking girl.
I
know
pray
what you should
every
pray
day that
you know
Abby
what you
is a
should pray
nerd.
for? Oh, and an ugly one at that.
Yeah, we'll keep
you know
feeding her
what?
Taco Bell.
Keep feeding her.
Oh, that's not nice.
Well, it's almost the best thing you could do, don't you think? Because at least then she's going to keep reading fucking books instead of blowing dudes.
Right. Homeschool her.
No.
That's really not quite true.
Either this is what you can go two ways. One, you can go what all the popular girls do, and you have a kid by 16, or you have diabetes by 16.
So you kill
and you're
her.
still a virgin. Like that's just the best. You know.
So in other
diabetes.
words, so to go back to your original question,
yes,
you can't win anyway.
No,
fuck it. Let her have her bra out and her butt out, and who cares?
Yeah, I guess
didn't take her to Disneyland.
All you can do is hope that you've taught her enough to not be a whore,
and that JP does not end up near you at Disneyland.
Right.
But then why? Why? I want what I would want to know.
Define
is,
not be a whore at 14.
is why she would want to be doing that. I don't know. It's just a thing that struck in my mind because Doc said something about young girls or whatever. I don't even remember.
Did you just go into a? That was like the decoded voice of the guy in the dark room who's talking about the thing he did wrong, but he doesn't want to be seen.
The thing that I didn't remember. So
This week on To Catch a Predator.
Hi, what are you doing here? And then Chris Matthews approached me, and I really felt that I was being entrapped. It was
And
entrapment.
I just
was
sprang a
just
case of
there.
beer and 17 condoms because I thought she was like, I don't know, more than 12.
I was backstage at this Dave Matthews concert.
Oh,
you can't prove anything. You can spoof IP addresses really
I was going to give
easily.
you some Cialis and 2 cookies.
After all,
people always wonder what JP does Monday to Friday. Well, no.
After all the thanking I've done tonight, I'd now like to apologize to our guest, Paul Sangster, and also Tom Keogh of Yards Brewing. No, I'm not, Jade, I am not apologizing to you.
You're
I'll be goddamned. I will apologize to Roberto. He's a fragile man.
He is.
That's why he's out in the hall.
You know, his photograph wasn't on the main photograph. He's very sensitive.
He's very sensitive.
Seriously, I swear to God, really, he fucking is. And,
he's out there cringing in the hallway.
but you know what? He puts up with me.
Hey, right.
And so we got to give him so much latitude for that.
That we do. All right, let's get out of here. Don't forget that Oktoberfest is coming up on Saturday, October 5th. You can meet the lovely JP.
I'll be there. I'll be there working.
You can also meet, of course, Jade and Roberto if you haven't already. They'll be there with the HopTech booth. JP will be there. You can buy Brewing Network merchandise. And it's just a great festival. So go check it out. You can buy tickets at oktoberfest.org, or you can buy them at the door. It's a free fest. But if you want the beer, then you got to pay a little cash. But it goes to a good cause, as always.
It's all good.
Paul Sangster made his way all the way up from San Marcos to hang out with us. I appreciate that.
Killer beer, Paul. Thank you.
Thanks for having me in.
And I think we're done.
Yards.
You got things for us?
I got things for us.
Let's get out of here. We'll see you next week with Michael Jordan, ladies and gentlemen.
The big black guy.
Oh, my God. The basketball player?
I believe I can.
Come on, JP,
Thank you
sing.
to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. If you can't get enough of cats, Disneyland, and self-hatred, you can follow JP on Twitter at Major Jip. Scott's on Twitter as well. If he's not counting his money by candlelight, follow him at Moscow Paints. For some good beer insight and homebrew info, follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew and Mike McDowell at Tasty McD. Production director on the session has been Push Eject. Tonight's show has been produced by Scott Moskowitz. JP was planning his next trip to Disneyland. Your call screener and dildoer of dogs has been Bevo. And your host, as always, is Justin Crosley. Be sure to find the Brewing Network on Facebook and Twitter.